Oh my God, we did it. We made it happen.
We did it.
I'm so proud.
And
We made it happen.
Aaron Black transformed into Cletus Buford. What?
Oh, man.
How did that happen? It was like magic.
We actually have a video with me in it, too.
Yeah, just Jay's.
I don't know how that
Next
happened.
time. Sorry, guys.
Everyone, make sure to get your Cletus emotes in the chat to make up for Jay being
There
a
you
piece
go.
of shit.
Yeah. Finally, someone that says it like it is. It's good. We got Brad and Blue Jay. They're the only ones that'll insult me.
I mean, I'm just proving to you that I will pull no punches when it comes to my GMing, right?
Yeah, guys. She
Obviously.
said before that she was just gonna kill me outright if I did one single thing wrong.
Yep, that's what I said.
And-
So
Looks like I'm dead.
well, looks like
Over.
it. So Jay is gonna have to be replaced in the video for next time. But for right now, thank you all so much for showing up. You don't have to disappear. I'm Blue Jay. I'm super, super excited to bring you all back to the universe of In the Black with our brand new show. First episode today called The Bystanders. Now, if you remember, last time we had a drastically different cast, but this time we're going back in time. If you haven't watched In the Black, we are following up on something that happened the very end of the third episode. So go back, watch it after you watch this episode. Watch this one first and then go back. But we have a brand new cast because it's a flashback. And to introduce those lovely people, let's let them introduce themselves. So first and foremost, the most harassed member of the cast, but only because he can take it. Jay, can you introduce yourself to
And he can handle it.
audience?
Hi guys, I'm Jay. I have a lot of complexes thanks to Tablestory's cast and crew over the years. I'm the resident Canadian that gets made fun of, and you can find me here in a lot of campaigns in the past, way back. But we're not flashing back to those campaigns. This campaign I am playing Uskar. Should I do a full intro here, Blue Jay, or just?
Yeah, I don't think it's not a secret who everyone is. So
Yeah.
let's go ahead and give them your like basic character intro.
Cool. So I am Uskar Weekif. I'll be playing him. He's a peasant from a feral world. He's come from a matriarchal society and is hell-bent on finding a new place in life, somewhere a little better, and somewhere where he can raise a family.
Very cool. And so all of our characters are going to be fairly new to each other. So I'm really excited to see the character interaction and development. Someone who is also a new member of the crew, Starbuck, can you introduce yourself and also your character?
Hello, I'm Starbuck. You can call me Starbuck, or you can call me Starbuck. It's the joke of my name, I guess. I'm playing Cubit in the system, a mechanic, a tinkerer, someone who is not very fond of humans, or a certain trait in humans that I'll kind of let that slide into in the story. You'll probably find me repairing things around the ship, and just hanging out.
Very, very cool.
What you're actually saying is call me Starbuck.
Yeah.
Very cool. And Cletus is actually the member of the crew that has been with this ship the longest, and thus will, I think, be integral in learning about the ship itself. Cletus, can you give an introduction to yourself and your character?
Hi, my name is Cletus Buford. My character's name is also Cletus Buford, mostly because I play that character. My character, it's a shocker, I know, for most of the people who know me. He's the actual bartender of the ship. He's been there for 20 years. Isn't that a shocker? But he's been there for 20 years. He's been traveling back and forth. He absolutely loves what he does. He loves the people that he sees as they come and go. But he's getting kind of bored of it. All I got to say of that.
Oh man. Well, interested in seeing where Cletus goes from here. We have another member of our crew, Todd. Will you introduce yourself and your character as well?
Yeah, so I'm Todriel. You can call me Todd. My character is Amara Day. She is a pilot, but not like a super fancy pilot, just kind of like a bus pilot. She does intra-system shuttles, and she is just a passenger on this particular ship, so she's not flying the ship. And yeah, she's just trying to look for her family. She was displaced from her homeworld, so that's Amara.
I'm so excited for the last but certainly not least member of our cast and the newest passenger on the ship. Saji, will you give us an introduction to yourself and also your character?
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Saji, and I usually stream creative, like weird, abstract space illustrations, and I'm playing Gelpy Wiltz. She is a physician from a nomadic planet in the Kozardisk system. She's been traveling kind of planet to planet, setting up less than legit clinics for different communities, and she's here on this ship to kind of find her new spot to set up a new clinic. So
very cool. Well, I know that I've got some minor nerves, and I'm sure that the rest of you do, so let's just jump straight into it. The way that we're going to enter the story is actually going to be through the eyes of Saji and her character Gelpy as they approach the ship for the very first time. Gelpy, can you give us a quick description of what your character looks like and what you would perhaps have with you when you're joining the ship for the first time as a passenger?
Yeah, so I'm Gelpy. I have a different collection of different clothes gathered from different planets. I have a backpack with different planets stitched into it, almost like a checklist. Inside the backpack, I have a different collection of different med patches and stim packs, and I kind of carry it on the go with me. And I don't look like a physician, but I definitely know my way around a needle or two. So, that actually came out wrong. But she's trying to get off this planet and set up a new place to start her clinic again.
All right. Well, Gelpy, you had been talking back and forth. I'm sure you reached out to several different captains of different ships that were on the planet Sean, but you had been mostly talking with Lysandra Vex, who is the captain of the ship that you'll be approaching now. Cletus, what is the name of this ship, since you've been on it longest?
No.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't like when you do this to me.
I told you. I warned you. It was going to happen. I was going to ask you for stuff about the ship. I told you.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't think about the ship. I just work. I never go outside and look at the front of it.
I feel like, okay, so Lysandra, she calls the ship her baby, and it used to have a name, but it's mostly
left to go.
but the ship's name on the side of the ships, you know, where it would usually say like SS whatever, is just covered in rust and dirt and crap. So we can't even see what the ship's name is anymore. And when you contacted on the list of like ships that were taking passengers, it just said Lysandra Vex's ship and not actually a name for the ship. So you contacted Lysandra and she messaged you giving rates. And as you approach the ship, you would be rising up through a space elevator. Now, Sean, as a planet, is still being inhabited. It's a fairly new area in the Kozardisk theocracy. It's just been settled. It's a new colony, and it's absolutely beautiful. It has all of these space elevators sticking out from various cities and ports on the surface of the planet that look like kelp waving in the ocean. And you would take this elevator from the city at the base all the way up to the lower atmosphere where the ships dock and where they load and unload their cargo. And as you approach this ship, you'll notice that it's definitely not a good looking ship. Maybe it gives you a little bit of a, oh, is this still
Doesn't
space
smell
worthy?
great either.
Yeah.
It's not the greatest smelling ship either.
Is this still space worthy feeling in your stomach? But it also was the most affordable ship, and standing right outside of it with overseeing the cargo being loaded and unloaded is Lysandra Vex. You would know she's the captain because she's actually wearing a old school military-esque uniform, but it's entirely for show. She has epaulets, she has 2 rows of buttons, and it's done open with a high-waisted pants. Her skin is tan and her hair is light brown, but it's the tan skin of maybe she would be darker if she spent more time in the sun, but she's lived on a ship for a very, very long time, and she looks like she knows what she's doing as she's directing Uskar in pushing a massive, massive cargo box off the ship and towards the cargo elevator that you just came off of. Uskar, can you give us a quick description of what your character looks like? It sounds like you're muted.
Apparently the chat cannot hear me. Chat, do not worry. I was just saying that I have a white shirt and it is very dirty because I am working, okay? And I'm pushing this box. I'm just pushing it. And that's it.
Lysandra notices, are you approaching her? Are you kind of standing back, looking at the ship, regretting all of the decisions you've ever made in your whole life? What is Gelpy doing when she comes to the ship and sees this rust bucket?
Gelpy would probably be looking at the outside of the ship, kind of taking inventory of maybe some weak spots in the ship, kind of counting her, looking at what might be wrong here.
I feel like Lysandra, she has seen this reaction from quite a few people who have signed up to be passengers on her ship. All of you, Cubit and Amara, probably had a similar reaction when you first came on board, but she strides toward you confidently and says, "You must be Gelpy Wiltz, right?"
Yeah, Miss Lysandra, correct?
Yes, you can call me Lysandra. I assure you, this ship has been space-worthy for 20 years, and it'll be space-worthy for probably 200 more. Looks aren't everything.
I mean, you're looking quite ready for space there, Captain.
Why, thank you. You mentioned in your message that you were interested in trading a little labor for your passage.
Yes, I'm a formally trained physician, so if anyone gets bent up, I really hope that that's not the case. But if anyone does, I can definitely fix them up if that can get us a little bit cheaper of a fare.
Us?
Me. No, me. Sorry, referring to myself in multiples.
That's fine. Well, we've got a pretty usable med kit, and Cletus in the bar knows his way around it pretty well, but I mean, might as well have a doctor. Now, I can't give you too much of a discount. Our rates are pretty fair to start with, but how about 7%?
Could you come up to 8 a little bit, maybe? It's an even number. It sounds a little better.
Sold. I would have gone for 10, but 8 works.
Oh, you know.
All right, Gelpy. So, you know what? I've got a bit more managing to do with Uskar. Uskar, say hello to our new passenger.
Hello.
This is Uskar. Gelpy, this is Uskar. He's probably the most likely person to get injured. So you might as well say hello.
I'll do a bow with my hands forward. It is nice to meet you. What is your name? I am Uskar.
Well, hello, Uskar. I'm Gelpy. Are you the muscle on this ship here?
Yes, I am a humble man with many large muscles that can be used to push things and to, stack things and, to push more things and stack them and then push them again. Dude, what are you of?
Excuse me?
What are you called?
Oh, Gelpy.
I am Uskar of the Weekif.
Oh, I'm Gelpy of the Wilt.
Gelpy of the Wilt. It is good to meet you.
I'll bow again, very respectfully.
Yes, a couple passes ago, our forklift broke, and Uskar showed up right on time, and we haven't had to get it fixed yet, although I suppose I should talk to Cupid about that. And she gets a faraway look on her face, like, I definitely should add this to my mental to-do list. And then she says, but come on, we'll get you all shacked up. Do you have any more luggage, or is it just the backpack there?
No, it's just this. I keep quite compact with my stuff, always on the move.
Well, sounds great. We don't have a whole lot of extra rooms. Now come on in. And she comes through the cargo area. There is definitely a separate passenger entrance to the ship, but the cargo bay is open and currently connected to the space elevator. It's a massive bulb that looks like the bulb on the end of a kelp strand. So it looks like a giant dome, and it's all made of glass, and you can see the planet far below you, and you can see the curvature of the horizon. And if you look behind the ship, you can see the stars kind of winking in and out as we're in a low orbit. But you'll head on board the ship and past the end of the cargo bay, which is mostly deserted. There's probably like one other person that's helping or maybe just managing Uskar and unloading cargo. It's mostly done at this point. And she would lead you onto the ship through a wide domed area, which is most of the common area is on this part of the ship. And this is also the part of the ship that looks a lot better than the outside. Cletus, can you describe what your bar looks like inside?
So basically at this part, you're going to see like really old antique wood, probably some of the finest wood you've seen on any of the local planets. They've really done it up. It's really beautiful in there. You can tell that all of the ship itself hasn't really cared as much about the ship as this location has been cared for. And then you walk in and there's a giant bar that runs the entirety of the room. And then there's like an overhang over it with really dim lights. And then there's tables scattered everywhere. There's quite a few people, probably 3 or 4 people, maybe 5, sitting around relaxing. And then there's a guy standing behind the bar with a cowboy hat on, kind of like street clothes, really light tan shirt, pair of jeans that you can tell are covered in like work. They just look like they've been worked, and he's been working hard. And then he's wearing kind of like a light overcoat. And he's currently serving a drink to a person who is sitting at the bar currently.
Are either Cubit or Amara in the bar at this point?
I think I'd be kind of reserved. I'd just be kind of either in the workshop of the ship or off fixing something, kind of just off.
Okay,
not here
so
in the bar.
Cubit's not in the bar. Is Amara?
Yeah, Amara is. She's kind of like looking at the walls and trying to mess with the tech to see if there's any updates, and probably not finding any.
Oh, so you're at like one of the ship computer screens in the bar trying to mess with shit?
Yeah.
Do you just allow this to happen, Cletus? Are you like, sure, mess with the computer in my bar? Or are you one of the people that's like, no, that's mine? Like, is this area someplace that you really take ownership of and you're like, don't touch anything that's not yours? Or are you pretty casual about that?
Technology is very, very out of my realm right now. So I don't understand it, and I don't choose to. And in this situation, Cletus would be like, hey, go ahead, do what you want to do.
So Lysandra and Gelpy come into this area, and Lysandra will say, as you see, it's not quite the way you see on the outside. Cletus has been taking good care of this ship for a very long time. Cletus, we got a new passenger. Gelpy, Cletus, Gelpy.
Hi there, ma'am.
Hi there, Cletus, yeah?
Yep, I've been here for 20 years and I ain't going nowhere.
Oh, wow, then this must be a space-worthy ship then, yeah?
It gets us places, I'll promise you that.
Cletus, do you mind? I have to go talk to Cubit, but would you mind showing Gelpy to her quarters? It's gonna be room 2B.
I could show her to her quarters. I would do that for you.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. And then Lysandra would exit the room. Before we narrate showing Gelpy to her quarters, let's really quick follow Lysandra as she stalks through the ship. She obviously knows it pretty well. It's her ship. She's owned it for a while. She's very proud of it. And she slides down a ladder into the belly of the ship. It's warmer down here immediately, and it looks like kind of a mess. It's the engine room. Parts are strewn everywhere. Where are you in here, Cubit?
I think I'm ravaging through a toolbox that's open on a shelf. Kind of one hand in the toolbox, one hand kind of looking at, say, the open engine. We're just kind of tuning it up before our ship takes off. I have kind of a jumpsuit that, instead of being zipped up, it's kind of the top half is kind of just open and around my waist. I have kind of like a tank top on that's kind of grungy, got some oil and grudge on me. I'm just kind of fumbling around through my tool chest over here.
Lysandra enters and says, Cubit? Cubit, I knew you would be here. Have I talked to you about the forklift already? I can't remember.
You know, Cap, I think you mentioned that before. It's on the list. I'll definitely get to it, I promise.
All right. I was just thinking about it, and I decided I'd like to tell you. Also, we have a new passenger, Gelpy. I know you don't love people, but I would appreciate if you could at least introduce yourself. Maybe one day she'll be saving your life, right?
You got it,
Go
Cap.
say hello. She's in the bar, I think. Do you know where? Oh, right. Amara was upstairs. I feel like there was something else. For the life of me, I cannot remember. Was there something else I asked you to fix? Did you fix it yet?
The forklift.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Another thing. I swear to God, there was something else. Well, hopefully it's not important. We should be taking off in, less than an hour. Everything okay down here?
Everything's good. Just wrapping up, and I'll give our new passenger a good hello.
Sounds good. And then she kind of looks around as if trying to remember something that she forgot, and then just climbs back up the ladder. And let's jump back to the bar. Gelpy, are you in a mood immediately I have to get into my quarters, or are you kind of making yourself at home and chatting with Cletus in the bar, or are you getting a drink? How does Gelpy make herself at home?
She'd probably be kind of walking around the bar and looking at the walls and looking if there's any different corridors coming out of there, just trying to orient herself to things. And then she'd probably try and find one spot in the bar that she could kind of have as her little thinking spot. So maybe away from the group, but enough that she can survey the whole room.
So, Amara, you would have known that Gelpy is, not someone you've run into before. Are you the type of person to introduce yourself? This ship probably has a maximum of 6 passengers at one time, so it's fairly noticeable when someone new comes along.
Yeah, I think I would have when she introduced herself to Cletus. So I probably would have just turned around, shook her hand, told her my name, and just got right back to tinkering with the.
And Cletus isn't quiet, so you probably heard the whole conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And definitely, if there's somebody in my bar that's sitting far away and quiet, I'd probably introduce them to come up and have a drink with me. So, especially someone new. So my next move would probably be come over here and have a drink.
Well, all right. Do you have anything non-alcoholic?
We do have some goat's milk.
Well, I guess that'll do.
All right,
take
I'll
some
get
of
one
that.
for you. Just 1 second. All right,
What's
there you go.
Is this like just double checking? Is there like an actual like bar that he's at, or is it more of like he's going into the back or something?
Oh, I feel like Cletus, you mentioned there's like an actual wooden bar.
Yeah, there's an
It's-
actual bar on the
it's-
front.
It's pretty odd for a ship that looks as like old and rusty on the outside to have such a well put together kitchen bar community area, but Cletus has definitely taken care of this.
Yeah, this was all his work. This was people needed a place to socialize, and they felt like this would be the best way to do it. So, and he always loved the idea of running a bar. So this is where his option was to do it here in this ship.
So, Cletus, did you build this bar on your own? Were you one before? I mean, you've been here for 20 years, you said?
Yeah, I've been working on it for a little while. I really like serving drinks and hanging out with people, so I thought I would, rustle up some, some barrels and start making some liquor. And every time we drop off at one of the locations, I usually go out and get me some extra stuff that helps me produce more liquor. And I get little odds and ends. And if you want, I got bread, I've got sandwiches, whatever you need.
Do you have any fruit?
I do not have any fruit right now. We are going to be doing a pickup soon on the other end, so I'll get some then for you.
Oh, I would just kill for some fresh berries. We don't really have them. Well, where I've been living for the last little bit. So
He takes out like a pad and like writes down your name just to make sure he remembers and puts like what kind of fruit you wanted. So
Very nice. Uskar, you probably have just finished loading the last outgoing cargo on the cargo elevator and sent it rocketing back down the kelp-like space elevator toward the city at the base. Are you usually alone here, just like doing this work? Is this something that you've gotten into the flow of, or is this the first time that Lysandra has really let you take care of all of this by yourself?
I think he would usually have probably some help. Maybe whoever around. I'm not sure. I think maybe he might be the only one like doing it probably full time. It might just call anybody over when needed. So I'm not sure. I think right now he's probably alone. He's probably just mulling about, just thinking to himself over and over, knowing that eventually after one of these stops, something will go right.
So you press the button to send the full cargo elevator down to the base, to the city at the bottom of the, for lack of a better word, shaft. I'm so sorry.
Does it make a whoosh? Does it like a...
It definitely has like a cool, like when you put when banks used to have the thing that you put your deposit in and then it goes like up the tube. That's the sort of noise. You got one? Very good. So the cargo starts down and you feel more than hear a sort of shaking in the elevator shaft that you are not, like, it usually doesn't happen.
I'll smack it. Just the closest part of it. Just give it a loud smack and does it do anything?
No. It was one weird shake and then it stopped for a second. Like I said, you're in like a transparent glass like bubble attached to the cargo bay of the ship. Do you maybe go look? Are you afraid of heights?
Is there I was gonna say, is there an edge I can peer over? Sorry, I was trying to visualize.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so I'd probably slowly peek over. I don't think he's been up high very much, so it might be a new thing. So I'll just slowly peek over.
Aren't we in a spaceship?
You're in a spaceship. You're in a spaceship, but it's docked on a cargo elevator to load and unload passengers and cargo. So you peer over the edge. The ground below you has like a very short banister type thing, but for the most part, it's just that circle of glass at the edge of this very stable, doesn't look like clear or anything. It's a very stable, opaque, flat ground, but the wall itself is made of this transparent glass that's slightly like bubbled. Like there's something in the glass that makes it a little harder to see through it. But you look down, and now you said that you normally don't, like, you're normally not up this high, so you might not be familiar with what the view looks like, but you can see that the actual shaft of the elevator, whereas when it might normally be God, this is horrible. I'm sorry, phrasing. It might normally be rather stiff when you've docked and only like wiggling like kelp in the atmospheric waves of the planet as it moves. Like when you dock, it's usually stiff so that you can send the elevator platform up and down. But for some reason, there's like a shivering going up from the base of the elevator.
I have a question. Is this something that was kind of felt across the ship, or was it just local to the...
You definitely feel it like a little bit delayed from when Uskar feels it. So by the time he has gone over to check and see if maybe like the elevator got stuck or something, you would have felt it like that little bit of delay. There is a slight shaking. The bar, the glasses on the bar and the bottles, probably they have something to keep them like strapped down because like you're in space, you're moving around all the time, but they do like clink against each other. And there's a little bit of instability, which you would know, Cletus, normally doesn't happen when you're docked. Correct.
It actually is a very calm dock most every time, but this one's different.
Yes, it's very noticeably something different. I'm so sorry about phrasing. I didn't.
It's okay. I'm trying to keep myself together right now. I'm trying so hard not to laugh.
I think we found a title for this episode.
There was like 9 or 10 words put together there.
I'm so sorry.
Well, I kept a straight.
The first ever softcore version of Tablestory.
I'm very proud of all of you, and I'm also very sorry.
It's okay.
So yes, you would notice that the ship kind of shakes a little bit and then calms down for a moment, but that shaking is something that doesn't normally happen.
I actually like reach out and like the glasses near me and like grab them for a second because they moved, and then I like look at all the other members of the bar, and I like wonder if everybody else felt that, and then I kind of like grab my towel, flip it over my shoulder, and just go back to work.
You hear from towards the direction of the bridge, Lysandra yells, "Cubit! What was that?" Just like down the hallway.
I think I'm still in the engine room, so I kind of like sheathe my wrench into my like tool belt and kind of like wipe my hands on whatever I have close to me, my shirt maybe. I kind of like, all right, that was kind of weird. Make my way up the ladder. I think my first thing is I'll probably stop by the bar to see.
Yeah, the bar is very central. So the bar would be in between the engine room at the base, the bridge at the front, the bar in the middle. Then you have behind the bar, there's the large cargo area, because cargo carriage is the majority of your income. And then the cargo bay is currently attached to the elevator. It's docked there. So it's wide open into that bubble.
Okay. Okay, so I think I'm gonna make my way to the bar. I'm kind of just looking around, seeing okay, nothing seems out of place. I'm a very small human.
Did you enter the bar already?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna just kind of walk in.
Did you feel that too?
Yeah, Cletus, I don't.
That was
strange.
strange.
Anything? Was it you? Was it?
No. It wasn't me. I was drinking and pouring drinks over here with these fellas, and It sounded like something boomed.
So I kind of pull out my wrist data pad and I'm kind of just like looking at stuff. And
From what you can tell on your pad, like all of the ship systems are nominal. There's nothing like that exploded that caused that. No.
yeah, I'm not seeing anything here on my little.
You didn't do nothing?
No, I was just checking in, making sure everything was well oiled, and.
I wonder
there
if it
seems out
was
of place here.
Uskar.
You know, I think I'll go check on him. Yeah.
Yeah, would you go check on him real quick? Make sure he's all right.
Yeah, I'll do that. So I kind of just I look around the bar again. I think I see our new passenger, and I'm just kind of a small nod, and then I just walk out and make my way over to the cargo bay.
So when you get to the cargo bay, you would see that Uskar has unloaded most of the cargo and obviously hasn't replaced it yet. And he's currently leaning over the edge of the platform, kind of looking out the convex side of the bubble down at the elevator.
Okay, so I walk over and what's up, Uskar?
Ah!
Hey,
Oh, it scared me.
I didn't mean to scare you. I'm sorry. So we kind of felt a weird thing
Yes,
in the ship.
me too.
I'm not seeing anything odd on my data pad. Were you?
Okay, so yes, please do not tell the captain, but Uskar, I pressed the button and I sent it down, and then there was a boom.
Did you smack it?
Yes, I hit it.
I think at this point I take out my sheath's wrench and I give it a good smack as well.
As soon as your wrench hits the outside of the elevator shaft, there's another worse shake.
Whoa! It fixed?
And then are you still looking out at the elevator shaft in the city below, or are you looking back at?
I'd check it. I'd be like cycling between, right? Look at Cubit, and then as she hits it, then look down.
So as you glance back down through this glass bubble window, you would suddenly see absolute chaos below. The city that used to be in shades of like gray and silver and white is now on fire. It's slowly, you can see a cloud of debris expanding like it was just hit by something. And the elevator shaft that you're connected to from the bottom up is starting to catch flame.
What did I
What
do?
happened? I don't think it was you, Uskar. I'm not sure. I think.
And you can see each level of the elevator shaft start to explode as it comes up and closer to the ship.
Okay, I'm sorry for this.
I'm gonna grab Cubit if they'll let me and run
Throw over your shoulder.
as far as I can.
In like towards the ship.
Yeah, back towards the ship.
Okay. So all of you that are currently in the bar would have felt a second larger shaking, and then that shaking just doesn't stop, and it's getting worse.
Yeah, I'm trying to clean up all the glasses off the floor. They're now pretty much on the floor. 4 or 5 bottles are broken. I have.
Would I have access to like the cargo bay's like terminal? Like, would I know that there is something going on?
You could. There's nothing. There's definitely a security system with cameras in order to access it. If you're just a passenger, you probably would have to put in some kind of like passcode as a member of the crew in order to access the security cameras. Otherwise, it just has a very basic like map of the ship and a small amount of information.
Okay. I think she would say something doesn't feel right, guys. I think something's wrong with the cargo base.
I don't think that was supposed to happen.
Yeah, you said this ship was space worthy.
No, I said it travels a lot. I didn't say it was space worthy.
Oh, much better.
You said that.
Actually, I said that, and Lysandra is like stomping and looking a little harried, and she's going towards the engine room. Like, this has got to be something about the engine. and she like just passes straight through and then drops down
And
the
Cletus never
ladder.
really leaves. Cletus never really leaves the bar, so at this point he's like actually out in the hallway, like wandering that way because he's like, "What in the hell is going on?"
So you would see Uskar and Cubit running into the cargo bay and like through the hallway towards the bar.
No, turn around, turn around!
What did you do?
There's a
Uskar?
fire! There is a mini fire!
What did you do?
I sent the bomb down, apparently.
You set a bomb down.
Lysandra! Captain!
Wait,
And the captain's gonna be like below in the engine room looking around, noticing that nothing's wrong down here, and she looks up the ladder and it's just like, Uskar, what happened?
Yeah, my head's over the top.
Captain! I don't know.
And she like starts up the ladder and pokes and sees Cubit, and she's like, Cubit, what's going on?
I think I don't know. I'm not sure if we're under attack. The elevator
Attack?
I don't know. There's something that we have to
explode.
undock. We have to undock right now.
Okay.
Now?
Yes.
Well, okay, let's and she's just like she gets up the ladder and she goes into the cargo bay, and you can see that the actual height of the elevator that you're still docked to is getting like, it's actually falling towards the planet's surface, and she notices that, and there's this look in her eyes of pure panic, and she immediately goes into like, I'm the captain, this is my ship mode, and starts to attempt to close the cargo bay door. What is everyone else doing?
I, upon seeing that, would run and help immediately. I don't know about everyone else, but I think I put Cubit down.
Oh, you were checking.
Just
I
on
was.
your shoulder the entire time.
Come on, we must go open the door.
tell her,
yeah,
Cubit,
no,
what
I
you
would.
want to tell her.
Yeah.
Cubit is just going to be carried this whole time.
Yeah, I've already put her down. So I would just start running after her, and offering to help. I'd be,
Lysandra!
and
Yeah, so she's basically just like punching buttons to try and get the cargo bay door to close faster. It's very slowly doing the like, and you can see outside that things are getting a little more dire. And she's like, Uskar,
What?
I don't know, just keep an eye on it. I have to go to the bridge. And she turns and she runs back towards the center of the ship.
Okay.
And she runs through the bar, and y'all see her. She looks, you would notice, Cletus, because you've known her for like 20 years. She looks absolutely terrified. And you've
I'm
never seen
frightened.
like this.
I'm frightened right now. Like, I'm gonna go back in the bar. I'm gonna tell everyone they need to get back to their quarters. Y'all need to get out of here. Get back to your quarters now.
Gelpy, you don't actually know where your quarters are yet.
Yeah, I haven't even showed her yet.
Cletus, can I just stay here with you? I think.
Yeah, you can stay here, but
Okay.
you're gonna have to get down. You're gonna get somewhere. I don't know. But here, have another beer or something. You know,
That goat's milk, please. That's some
Oh, yeah,
strong
you
stuff.
drink something because we're in trouble right now, and it's not good.
Amara, you see the captain running through the bar towards the bridge, and you would know that this ship usually operates purely on a plotted, pre-planned, computer-driven course. They don't have a pilot per se. It's just all like pre-programmed, go from point A to point B to point C. So you see her running towards the bridge. Are you like, does she know that you're a pilot? Have you mentioned this before? Has it ever come up?
Yes, I think she knows that I am a pilot, and she knows that I know a small amount. I think in that moment, Amara would kind of just stand there and have that moment of, oh fuck, like, what do I do? Is this my job? What do I do? And she watches Lysandra run past, and I guess like very hesitantly begins to follow her.
Okay, and you'll see Lysandra goes into the bridge of the ship. It's very small. It doesn't have like, it's not an expansive Enterprise style bridge. It has maybe two different computer panels for the captain and like the co-captain. And she goes to one of them and she's just like frantically pushing at buttons, and you see her go even paler than she normally is, and her brow is a little bit damp from panic sweat, and she's just like whispering to herself and like jamming at buttons on the computer panel on the front of the ship.
Ma'am, would you like some help?
Oh my god. I mean, I don't know if you can help. The stupid fucking elevator, it won't release the docking clamps. I don't know what happened, but it's not communicating anymore.
Okay, I would, I guess, approach her and try to press buttons as well. Do my...
Okay, well, do you want to do the first roll of the game?
No.
No?
No.
No? Well, you're going to anyway.
Okay.
So the system we're playing for everyone in chat is Stars Without Number. And the way that Stars Without Number works when it comes to roles is you have attributes, which are the classic attributes of strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. And then you have skills. Now, for this specific instance, we have a computer that is not communicating with the ship. It's unwilling to release the docking clamps for some reason, probably because part of it's on fire. So what you would probably need in order to get it to automatically release the docking clamps would be program and intelligence. So you would go ahead and click intelligence where it says ask for program. And then on the quick menu, you can click skills and then roll your program. And what you're doing is basically you go into the computer and you're trying again to communicate with the elevator systems and the docking clamps that keep your ship attached to this massive glass bubble and get it to release you because it's currently falling towards the planet and taking your ship with it. Awesome. So we got an 8, which is actually fairly low. So if we take a look at the difficulty skill checks, 8 is a significant challenge to a competent professional that they'd still succeed at more often than not. So I feel like at this instance, the ship is made to communicate with the computer in the elevator. It's definitely having some trouble right now. Amara might have been just panicking a little bit, but with that 8, you're able to get it to release the docking clamps. Unfortunately, your ship is now still plummeting towards the surface of the planet. So you've released you're not attached to this massive bubble of the space elevator anymore, but you are a lot lower in the planet's gravity and atmosphere than this ship is probably designed to be.
Okay, so I guess I'm just like gripping on the seat next to me, trying not to fall. And I look at Lysandra and I say, "Ma'am, we need to start the thrusters."
And she looks at you and she's like, I know. This ship usually just runs itself. I can do this. Okay. And she goes to open up the piloting screen of the computer, and you can see the way that she looks at it. She's basically looking at it the same way that you would look at something you've literally never touched before. Like, she's managed to go this long with just letting the ship drive itself. And for most cargo cruisers, like, that's how it goes. It's just a pre-programmed route that it follows in sequence. But being this low in an atmosphere and actually having to fight versus the planet's gravity, it's a lot to ask from anyone. So she's looking at it and she's about to put her hands on the screen, and like you can see them shaking as she reaches out to touch it.
So I guess in that moment, I would aggressively kind of just move her out of the way. I guess delicately, aggressively move her out of the way.
Okay.
And then start to do my button pressing again.
Okay, so Amara takes control of the ship's piloting systems, and back in the bar, do you have like any pseudo windows? Because the bar is in the center of the ship. It won't necessarily have actual windows to the outside, but it's absolutely possible that you would have like screens that show you what's happening outside the ship. Is that something that you have in the bar, Cletus? Are you able to see outside?
Well, we have the computer screens, and I should be able to see other spots on the in the ship, just
Okay,
because
so
that's something that you set up.
Yeah,
But
you're
I
a
don't-
crew member, so you have access to those cameras on the inside and outside of the ship. So are you like trying to get a look at what's going on, or?
I've at this point have gotten everybody out of the bar minus the one new member who is there with me. And I actually have been trying frantically to clean up the giant mess that just happened. And Cletus is kind of like a person who would very much be worried, but also very much worried about the bar, because that's what's most important. And he thinks that if the bar goes down, the ship goes down. That's just how his mental capacity is. So I have to clean up all this glass on the floor. I've got to get all this liquor up. I've got to mop, and I leave all the rest to you. The ship portion is you. So
Right. So you feel this feeling in your stomach as you're like bending over to pick up glass, this feeling of moving downward very, very quickly. The gravity of the planet is like grabbing your stomach and like yanking it down. And you know that something's wrong.
Oh, I knew from the moment I saw you run by that it was definitely bad things happening right now.
So Gelpy, are you just like trying to drink your drink, or?
No, I would be helping Cletus pick up, and I say, Cletus, maybe we should go help the others. I don't know if the bar's really helping us right now.
If you want, go ahead. I mean, they could use your help, but I got to get all this mess cleaned up. As you can see, it's a giant mess, and I got to get all this stuff off the ground. I got liquors everywhere. I got so much to deal with right now. If you want, you can go help, see if they need you.
No, I'll help you with this, Cletus. You seem really concerned about it, and I'll like hurry to help him kind of get it all together and hopefully calm him down a little bit with this.
Okay.
Uskar and Cubit, what are you two doing as this ship hurtles towards the planet's surface?
She said keep an eye on the door. So
she was asking you to make sure the door closed, and probably there's it was a bit panicky when we were trying to decouple the ship from the actual like docking clamps of the elevator, but you hear the like hissing of air as the door of the cargo bay closes just seconds after you decouple from the now rapidly disintegrating bubble of the space elevator. There's just like a momentary like, oh my god, did we just like decouple in the middle of a downward fall into a planet's surface? But then the door finally closes and you're in the cargo bay now.
Yeah, so I'd be probably sitting there a little bit in shock. Maybe got knocked on my ass after the fall, and I'm just kind of like arms behind me, just slowly standing up. Is there anything in like that looks like it's in need of immediate attention? Anything, any of the cargo that like, have they been pushed around, or are they being pushed around in a way that they're going to kill me?
You see like, probably what's more worrisome to you is that there isn't very much cargo because you've just offloaded everything, but you hadn't reloaded anything from the planet's surface. And so as you're looking around, the cargo bay is looking empty in a way that like maybe ordinarily you wouldn't be too concerned about, but now that you've uncoupled from a docking bay that was supposed to bring you like food and medical supplies and water, it might be entering your head that like, oh right, we don't have the boxes that would contain the food and the water that we need to live on this ship.
Oh, all of it's gone now?
So
you hadn't onloaded. You'd offloaded your cargo, but you hadn't gotten new stuff yet.
Yeah. So as I'm looking around, the only thought is that Uskar fucked up. That's probably just he's kind of walking maybe over to the nearest ladder now that things are a little stabilized. If he can walk, I don't know about the downward motion.
Oh yeah, you can, but the ship is obviously like still in free fall. Like it's not whatever the inertial dampeners would do to make it easy to walk around while you're in movement. There's no inertial dampeners happening right now. You're fast, like, and you're entering like closer gravity as you fall towards the planet. And again, you can feel that gravity and that fall like dragging your stomach down in your chest.
Okay, so I'm probably terrified, but I will slowly walk towards whatever and try and make my way, I guess, to the bar or my quarters, whichever one is closest.
I feel like there's a hallway from the cargo bay to the bar. There's a ladder downward, which is into the belly of the ship and the engine room. And then there's also a ladder upwards, which has the few crew quarters and passenger quarters upwards. And then forward from the bar is the bridge, where the bridge doesn't really have, it has a door, but you haven't seen that door closed in the whole time you've been here. Lysandra keeps it open. So Lysandra, you can see her and Amara in the bridge from where you are at the back of the hallway towards the cargo bay, and you can't make out what they're saying, but there's definitely that feeling of like panicky movements. Okay. You see Amara like move Lysandra away from the computer screen.
If I was kind of like in that hallway then, and I saw the bridge and then potentially saw everyone in the bar, I would probably go to the bridge first, and interrupt whatever conversation they were having and just
Capitan, the door is closed. It's closed.
And she turns to you from where she's been nudged away from the computer by Amara, and she looks at you. And again, it's the moment of like, you've only known her maybe for a few months, like several different passages from one place in space to another, but she looks paler than you've seen her, and a little bit of sweat on her brow, and kind of just like, this doesn't happen. What am I supposed to do on her face? And she nods at you and she's like, good. Yes. Did we finish loading before or?
No. I am so sorry.
We
have no boxes. We have no cargo.
We can worry about that later. Amara, God, I hate to ask this of you, but can you get us out of this free fall? And she trails off, but you can see her like stuttering, like, I don't know what to do.
I look at her and I say, yes, ma'am, I'm working on it. And I go back to my button pressing.
Okay, so I'm going to need from you again. I'm sorry to do this to you, Todd.
Can I interact real quick?
Oh, twice.
So I didn't realize there was a full free fall.
Yes, sorry, yes.
I thought you meant we were just kind of like stuff was shaking. I didn't realize there was a beginning of a free fall.
Yeah.
So at this point, I hit a button on the wall. It's the back of the bar. The whole bar drops. And there's a room
into like a safe place.
Yes, there's a room behind there. That's where basically all of my stuff is. I grab Kelpie. If she lets me, I don't grab hard. I just like grab her by the wrist and I pull her into that room and hit the button behind me, and it makes a loud beep noise, and then the door closes. And then when we get in there, you see basically like a bed and like some shelving and just enough like security that it's a smaller room, so we won't be in a giant bar
There's
anymore.
not like chairs and tables rolling all over the place. Okay. Do you go with him, Kelpie? Are you resisting at all, or are you like, yeah, that's a great idea?
No, I'm new here and the ship's falling and I'm following whoever looks like they know what's happening.
Okay, so
Kelpie, save me.
So Kelpie and Cletus go into the back room of the bar, where Cletus, since he's been here for 20 years, he's got like an extra larger space. And by extra large, I mean like 2 closets instead of 1 closet. Yeah. It's super fancy. And Uskar at the front of the ship. Amara, here it is again. I'm so sorry to ask you to be the only person to make rolls to start, but you wanted to pilot a ship, so you get to pilot a ship.
What I get?
This is probably dexterity and pilot. It calls for like quick maneuvering. And I would say that in order to get the ship out of free fall, you're probably going to need to get more than the 8 for programming. It's probably going to be a 10 difficulty, because the captain of the ship wasn't able to do this, but hopefully Amara can.
Okay.
Let's fingers crossed, everybody in chat.
So I go to the Ascom program and then Dex.
This is for pilot, not program. Sorry.
Oh, right.
Yeah, this is definitely in piloting the ship. to try and get it to stop its free fall and level out so you can control it and get to somewhere else safer.
Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna have to do it manually. For some reason, it's not popping up like it did earlier.
Your skills?
Oh,
I whispered it to you.
There it goes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Fingers crossed.
Oh no!
That is not a 10. So
double it.
Todd rolled a 2d6. I got a 4 and a 2. So you see, Uskar, you're in the bridge, and Amara is standing at what is usually the captain's station and placing her hands on this. You probably actually haven't, like, I don't know how often you're in the bridge, but you probably haven't seen this screen. It's the manual piloting screen. Usually it's just on autopilot. So she places her hands on the screen and she does some quick movements. Like, what does it look like for you? It's not like a joystick. It's 2 hands on a screen. Do you, like, are you looking like, are you shaking? What is it that causes you to fail? Is it just not enough knowledge? Is it that you feel a lot of pressure?
I would say it's something as simple as I was supposed to press that button and instead I pulled this handle.
Oh, like you fat thumbed a different button that you weren't supposed to press.
And in that moment, I realized that and just like kick the table next to us. And
there's some, you see from the front like window of the bridge, that classic heat signature of like going very quickly into an atmosphere. And you see that the ship, like the ground is approaching ever quicker. And Lysandra is just like absolutely panicking, and she goes around you and she goes to the other the co-pilot screen and she pulls up the same piloting the manual piloting screen, and she's trying desperately to help you. Are you willing to try again? Are you like, I give up,
yeah.
This is awful?
Willing to try again, absolutely. I'd rather not die.
I would say that right now, because of the speed at which we are approaching the planet, you probably have 2 more chances to try and get this right before you're just going to be preparing for a crash landing. So each, like this time is probably the same difficulty. It's probably a 10. I'll go ahead and say that Lysandra is helping you.
I know with my expert, I can redo a skill check. Can we do that in this circumstance? And I'll have.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Okay. So let me just check. I think that it's just like 1 skill check a session, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Can I kind of have like a little dialogue moment here where
would you, if you wanted to, where are you? You can come up to the ship's.
I think I'm kind of in the hallway out between the cargo bay and the bar. Uskar kind of ran off. I kind of double checked my surroundings, kind of braced myself, made sure my mag boots were kind of activated. I think at this point I kind of open up my little data pad and try to ping the captain and just be like, hey, we're falling, Cap. Like, what's going on?
There's you hear Amara and Uskar, I guess you're still in the bridge. You hear over comms onto the bridge the voice of Cubit being like, hey, we're falling. I think Lysandra like smacks the comms panel, is like, I know, I'm working on it.
No, that's how I broke it.
Aye, Cap. Thanks. I'll just kind of stand here if you need me.
Okay, so yes, you are able to re-roll a failed skill check. You take the new roll if it's better. So if you wanted to re-roll this skill check, the pilot plus dex, that's absolutely a way that you can use that skill.
Okay, let's do that. Wish me luck.
Good luck.
Yikes, forever.
It's a 6. So this
That's
was
better.
So this was the reroll on the previous one. Obviously it's still not a 10, so that continues. You like I said, you have kind of like 3 chances to get this. At this instance, the thing that's making it a different role that you're able to try again would be that now Lysandra is trying to help you. So she's going to go ahead and do the, I believe it's the aiding a skill check. So what she's doing is she went over to the co-pilot screen and is trying to help you. She doesn't have a whole lot of skills as a pilot, but she does have a skill as a leader, being that she is the captain. So I'm going to go ahead and roll and see if we can give you a bonus to trying to save the ship from certain demise. So relevant skill check. I believe she's using dexterity and lead, and you hear her, she's probably just yelling at the computer, and you hear the AI voice of the computer be like, I'm not able to understand what you're, and it's just like, she's just yelling. So let's see if she can get a success. I would say that in order to assist you, because she's not trying to succeed on this skill check, she's just trying to help you succeed. So it's probably an 8 that she needs. And I would go ahead and give her a +1 to lead. So let's see. She doesn't get it. She's panicking. She's not able to help you. I'm not going to be super mean and say that she hinders your roll, but there is definitely chaos happening in the bridge of the ship. And Uskar, you see it. You see like that both Amara and Lysandra are at the 2 ships stations. Lysandra is yelling at the computer, pressing a bunch of buttons, and so far the ship is still pointed down towards the planet.
Say to both of them,
Please, with all due respect, stop touching things. Cubit!
And I yell through comms, Cubit, get in here.
I pop open my little tablet. You're not Cap. Who are you?
You hear in the background of Amara's call that Captain is just berating the ship's computer, which is just saying like, I do not understand what you're requesting. I do not understand.
Oh gosh, I'm on my way. And then I close the little tablet.
Please run fast!
Start running my way down the hall.
Okay, so Cubit, you get to the bridge and you see this happening. The captain is pretty much just like berating the computer and wishing that she'd spent a little more time in the last 20 years re-upping her pilot license. And Amara is standing at what is usually the captain's computer station with her hands on the manual piloting, looking like, oops, I just pressed a button I shouldn't have and I don't know what to do.
I'm not...
So I would absolutely say that like any one of you would be able to try and aid this role, but you'd have to tell me like what it is that you're doing with a skill that you have in order to try and help.
Is there a like a max? Like when we played Numenera, I think the max you could add was like 2 to somebody's role. Is there like a max amount of people that can help, or?
Multiple PCs can try to help, but the acting PC can't earn more than a +1 total bonus.
Oh,
so
okay.
like if Lysandra tries to help and she fails, like other people can also try and help, but you can only get a +1.
Mm-hmm.
Is that added to the 6?
That's added to the 2d6 and whatever your bonus is to pilot, as it were.
Okay, well, Uskar is feebly attempting to help by pointing over Amara's shoulders and just...
Press that one! Okay, no, press that one! Okay, that one!
But...
So are you using lead? Are you trying to direct her? Are you using talk? Are you using...
I think, in all honesty here, I'm trying to survive. But I actually forgot that was a skill. But I'm also mostly like, I think, like you said, he was feebly trying to help. Like if Cubit's actually going to help and step in, he's just yelling over Amara's shoulder.
Okay, so survive is like obtaining the basics of food, water, and shelter in a hostile environment. So I'm not sure if that would be a useful skill here. Cubit, you absolutely have the ability to also be like, I think that I am doing this thing, like maybe trying to like boost the engine to be more helpful.
I'm not sure where I can use my fix more, like try to like get sort of like a route to the pilot, or should I be doing something more with the engine at this point? I'm not...
I would say that fix is probably more it works like if you want to use fix, that's going to work more on like I try and boost the power to the engines so we can more quickly like get up and out of the atmosphere. That's absolutely a role that you can make to assist or make a little bit easier Amara's role that she needs to make in terms of piloting. Also, Todd, like this is not like I knew going in that you were not like a super great pilot. You're a level 1 character. Whatever happens, like it's absolutely not your fault. Like I have plans for whether we crash or we don't. So like you're not going to die if you guys crash into the planet. Like there are plans to continue after that. So I'm just letting you know that I'm not
just joking about crashing, guys.
You weren't lying. She's like, I'll kill your character in the first episode, Jay.
Don't try me.
I just don't want you to feel like I'm putting you on the spot. Like it's just like
no, you're fine.
Can we at least make sure the liquor is safe?
Yes, the liquor absolutely is safe. You will still have liquor when
have beer, guys.
When this ends. Okay. So Qubit, you can absolutely roll I believe fix. You could roll intelligence and fix or wisdom and fix. Okay. Wisdom would be more like you just press a bunch of buttons that you know, like, okay, if I do this and I do this and I do this. Intelligence would be like, I make a bunch of calculations in order to like put the ship's engines at the optimal efficiency to get out of the atmosphere or something like that.
I think I'm going to look at Cap and be like, we're going with plan B. And I think I'm going to try to do a strategic step of, button presses.
Okay.
And
so you know this engine better than anyone because you've tinkered with it and you've made sure it's in good working condition and maybe you've made some edits to it. So you absolutely can either from the bridge or if you want to like run down the hall and go down into the engine room and do some levering and some button pressing. Either way, like you can make this roll. It'll be wisdom and fix.
Okay. So I think I'm going to go with wisdom. And so I say ask and go whiz?
Yes.
Okay. And then skills? Okay.
Time to go whiz.
And you just need to get an 8 to be able to give her a +1 on her piloting.
And so what do I click on here?
Do you have the quick skills? That'd be fix, yes.
Okay. It's asking for a modifier.
I don't think you have a modifier on this.
Leave it at 0?
Yes.
Okay,
so you absolutely do some magic with the engines. You get an 11 on that roll. You work some magic with the engines, and Amara, from the front of the ship, you can feel that something has changed. You see there's a signifier or a dial that shows the engine capacity and like how well it's running, and it goes from probably like average to suddenly like there's this major boost, and like you can feel that Qubit has done something to try and like help you out. So go ahead and you would have a +1 modifier on your roll to do another pilot index to kind of try and like get you out of this like head dive.
I'm like,
See, I told you. It wasn't that button.
Uskar is just yelling over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay, so still not quite there. You're almost there. We got an 8.
I sit down and I throw up.
No, you sit down and throw up. Okay, so Uskar, you're like pointing at things and you're like, no, that one. And you look down and you see that the ship starts to level out, and Amara looks like a little bit like, maybe. And then like it judders a bit and there's like another like, and it's still heading down, and the amount of like, not flame, but like heat and hot metal at the front of the ship is like the whole front of the ship is glowing red, and you see like a little crack start in the glass on the front of the ship, and Amara just like leans down and like looks like she either is going to or is throwing up.
Okay.
It's throwing up.
Uskar, it's okay.
We have to leave the room.
It's okay, buddy. All right, come with me.
It's going to blow.
Come with me. We're gonna go to the engine room. Let's go.
I am going to bar. Wait, engine room. I come to engine room. I will help you.
So I think at this point, Qubit kind of looks at both of them, just kind of, okay, well that one's no, and that one, okay, Uskar, we gotta fix this.
Can you be pilot?
And so
Okay.
I think we're gonna gonna make this engine work. We're gonna get us out of here.
I'm gonna like smack a wall. We fix.
We fix. Grab my wrench.
Okay, so what is it that you want to try and do here? So we had 2 tries already, so we have enough time to have one more try to kind of like either get you out of this head dive or fix or alter the ship's momentum to try and maybe make the landing a little like more of a controlled landing or like a softer landing. What is it that you're trying to do?
Do we have any sort of like, we don't have a drop ship or anything?
No, the ship's not big enough to have one of those.
Okay. I would like to maybe try to help prepare for some sort of like abrasive landing.
Okay.
If there's anything I can do.
So you're in the engine room, both of you are now, and Amara, you're kind of looking like panicked, vomiting, just like absolutely sick because you've tried twice and you just can't. It's too much to ask of a space bus driver. Sorry, I keep saying her name wrong. Lysandra, she looks over at you and she says, you need to get the other members of the ship to the it's not an escape pod, it's like a emergency room where the only chairs that actually have seatbelts are in this one room at the back of the quarters, the ship's quarters. So it's up the stairs instead of down the stairs, and at the back you're like, you need to get the crew to the emergency room and strap in. This is gonna, well, I mean, that's your best chance to survive. Go.
And I get
and she's gonna try and mess around with the ship to like, again, she calls you Cubit in the engine room and says, Cubit, are you down there?
I'm here, Cap.
I need you to full reverse on the engines and try and slow us down at least a little bit. I'm gonna do my best to control this landing from here, but after you do that, I need you to go to the emergency room and strap in.
You got it, Cap. There's
okay,
no
so
hesitation, like I'm just.
So from you, Cubit, I'll need a roll to again like fix and probably dexterity because you're trying to do this quickly in order to just like put the engines on like full hard reverse as hard as you can to kind of just slow you down.
Okay. So in fix I do dexterity and then.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so did you just roll an 11? Perfect. So that's definitely enough. You've put the engines in full reverse. You feel the like backwards motion of the engines like when you're landing a plane, and you feel the ship fighting against gravity to slow down. And Lysandra calls to you from the bridge. She's like, "Thanks, Cubit. Now get strapped in." And then she shuts off the comms.
I think I'll look at Uskar and be like, we gotta go.
Yes, okay, I am grabbing the captain. And then you go.
I'll meet you there, Uskar.
Okay.
I'm gonna run to the bridge if I can, wherever we both climb up, and I'll split off back to the bridge. And is Lysandra there still?
Yeah, she's there. Amara, have you already?
Yeah, I bolted. I went and got Gelpy and Cletus.
Okay, so for now we'll stay with Lysandra and Uskar, and then we'll go back to you going to get Gelpy and Cletus. But Uskar, you enter the bridge, and Lysandra is standing at the captain's. She's probably sitting in her captain's chair. She's wearing her jaunty captain's jacket. And she's like, it's got a little bit of sweat stains under the armpits now, and she's got the manual piloting screen up in front of her, and she's looking like she's got the face of the captain from the Titanic when he's like standing there as it goes down. She's like very much like, I'm gonna do this. This is my ship. I'm gonna go down with my ship. Yeah.
I'll run in and I'll be,
Captain, we have to go.
Uskar, you have to strap in. Go to the emergency room now.
You have to come too. Come on.
The autopilot can't handle this. Someone has to be here to try and,
Yeah, not to die. Give it one more try, and then we go. And if you say no, Uskar is carrying you. Uskar is very sorry. I bow. But I am very sorry, but I am carrying you.
Okay, so we jump back to Amara as she runs into the bar. You two are in the room behind the bar. Can you still see that from the bar, or is it just like the bar is empty?
I can hear her coming. I can hear the steps.
Mm-hmm.
So as she's walking in, you hear and like the thing rises again,
Mm-hmm.
and you can just see my head poking out. Like, what's going on? Like, is it okay out there? What's going on?
We have to make it to the emergency room. We're crashing.
Right. Like, we're gonna crash?
Yes, we're gonna crash, and if you don't make it to the emergency room now, we're gonna die. Come with me.
What about all the bar?
Don't worry about the bar, Cletus. It's okay.
All right, should I grab any? What should I grab?
Grab yourself. Let's go.
Okay, I'm coming.
And Gelpy will stand up too and kind of like help get Cletus out of the room and say, "Come on, Cletus, like we'll come back to the bar. It'll be fine."
Cletus,
when we get
for
back.
effect, do you grab like a bottle of your favorite liquor to take with you to the emergency room?
Yeah, I was
know
gonna.
it.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
like a
say.
Yamazaki 12 hanging out somewhere.
Oh yeah, for
Grab two
sure.
bottles, slide them in the coat.
Okay, so the three of you, and I'm assuming like the to be named future NPCs that are the other passengers and crew, get strapped in the emergency room, which is basically the highest and furthest back part of the ship. It actually has like padding on the walls and seat belts basically to strap yourself in, and this is what would effectively be an emergency pod for if the ship were to crash like it is now. It doesn't have an escape pod, but this is that for what this ship has. It's an old ship, so
It's the most armored spot in the ship, basically.
absolutely, yeah. It's made for exactly this, for trying to save the members of the crew while a crash were to be happening. And we have Uskar and Lysandra in the bridge still. As you can see, you now can no longer see the horizon. It's just like forest and rock and ground and grass in front of you. And this is like last ditch effort to try and land the ship in anything that resembles an actual landing and not like a horrible flaming crash. So are you attempting to help the captain at all with
Yes.
this, Uskar? Okay.
Now I will use my lead skill because I was trying to convince her like one last try.
Right. Okay. So I would say that's charisma and lead then, if you're basically just saying like, don't just give up, Captain. That could also be talk.
Okay. I think I'd go lead. That makes sense. I completely forget how to roll a skill here.
Okay. So where it says ask, you would go ahead and use the drop down to make it charisma.
Where's the ask? Sorry. I don't.
It says lead, and then it says ask, and then there's a drop down menu where the skills are on the character sheet.
Oh, my page wasn't big enough. Hold on, maybe I have to. No, I don't see it. I'll just roll.
I'll put charisma in there and see if it works for you.
Okay.
I whispered you the skills.
Oh yeah, here we go. Okay. Lead. Thank you. No modifier. No.
No, this is to assist the captain. That is not going to be enough. You got a 2.
Oh no!
I got a 2.
You rolled a 2, so that will not be enough to help the captain. I'm gonna make one last ditch effort, and if I manage this, then I guess the ship will be okay. It might need some repair, but it will be space worthy again. But if I can't, then we'll see. So let's see. Did I give her? I gave her a +1 last time, but I made very clear that she hadn't gotten her pilot's license. So I'm just going to give her a 0. So this is a flat 2d6, and she still has to get, honestly, probably at this point, a 12, because the ship is just like straight shot into the ground from here. I don't get that. I get a 7. So you see the captain attempt to pull the ship back, and it's just fighting her. Even with the thrusters on full reverse, the ship is just like, it can't actually, she doesn't have the technical skill that would be required to get it to back off of this straight descent. And she looks at you and she's like, if I stay here, I can help. You have to go to the emergency room. You have to strap in, Uskar.
Ah!
We could save everyone else. Just let me do this. This is my ship.
Okay. Uskar, I hope you survive. You're the best captain.
I'm gonna bow again.
Thank you. Also, prettiest lady.
Now, Uskar.
Okay.
I'm
run.
like bowing out as I go backwards, and I'll turn around and run.
Okay, because you did stick around to try and help her, you're going to have to make a roll to get to the emergency room and strap in before your ship just hits the planet's surface.
Yeah.
So that's going to be, I think, dexterity and exert.
Okay.
Also, real quickly, I didn't add something that I would like to add at this moment, but I had plenty of time because of the incident of ours was earlier.
Yeah.
I walk with a cane and very slowly.
Okay.
So at this point, I did make it. But I just want you to know, going forward, it's very
for the
takes
future.
me a long time to travel. So.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know why my ask button isn't on my sheet. It's probably because it's popped out. You said exert?
I said exert, yeah.
Okay. Is that in the... Oh, there it is. Okay. Da-da-da. A 12.
Okay, so you got a 12. So you book it down this hallway, like basically jump from the lower hallway up the ladder, and you bust into the emergency room with the 4 members of the passengers and crew and probably like 2 or 3 other people basically just shaking and looking pale, like they're certain they're going to die. And they see you bust in, and one of them is like, where's the captain?
Uskar, where's Captain at?
She did not come.
She's gotta come.
She stayed.
We have to go.
She stayed to save all of us.
I'm gonna like close the door, start to strap myself in.
No, don't close the door. She's
and
coming.
as soon as you like get the last, because you did make this roll, you got a 12. As soon as you get the last buckle done on your belt, you all feel like you hear the crunching of metal. You feel you go from like going super duper fast to just immediately stopping. There's the skidding feeling of landing on a tarmac, except for there's also like bumping and rolling. You can feel the gravity change as like your hair is like long. It's long and then it goes flat, and then it's long and then it goes flat. Like it's obvious that the ship is rolling, even though you're strapped into your seats. And we will take a break here as the ship hits the planet's surface and find out what it is that our intrepid heroes are going to do next.
These rolls.
What did you do, Uskar?
It wasn't you. I can tell you that right now.
We didn't smack it hard enough.
So Jay,
Oh my god, it was muted again! My Go XLR, sorry everyone, we'll be right back in a minute.
And welcome back, everybody, to episode 1 of the Bystanders. As you will see, things have gone from 0 to crashed in quite a short amount of time, and I definitely didn't plan it exactly to be that way. I did. I gave Amara and the captain a chance to potentially pull off saving the ship from certain destruction, but sometimes you just got to crash a ship, episode 1. So you all are currently in the emergency room, strapped in. Things have finally settled down. You can feel your body is now stopped and not on a race from lower atmosphere to planet surface. What do you do?
I'm grunting right now really bad. I'm just like, oh, God. And I'm basically panning back and forth to make sure everyone else is okay. Y'all okay? Everybody all right in here?
Yes.
Once we are landed, Gelpy's probably going to start fumbling in her backpack and pull out her bioscanner and just start kind of like looking and kind of checking everyone to make sure everyone's okay. Just kind of going into like crisis mode if they'll let her check.
Just a heads up, all my medical stuff is in the bar still.
Yeah. So everyone that is in the emergency room is for the most part fine, other than like some bumps and bruises. The room did its job. I'm not gonna be like, okay, now roll to see whether you lost a limb, everybody. No, the room did its job, and everyone here is for the most part fine. The door is still closed. We don't know what happened to Captain Lysandra, but we can probably guess.
Oh no.
So like you sit for a moment and you're checking to make sure that everyone's okay with your bioscanner, and everyone's kind of just like calm, like quiet, and like, is it over? And no one comes to the door to like open it up or anything.
I'll unbuckle, stand up. I figure I'm probably closest to the door anyways.
Because you were the last one, and that makes sense. Yeah.
Start to undo the hatch if it feels like we're okay.
And the hatch opens, and you see the upper level of the passenger quarters. Any doors that were open, there's pillows, blankets, and backpacks and things strewn about, but it's definitely not like on fire or anything.
Okay. It looks safe-ish.
Uskar,
Yes.
you should go see where Captain is. Make sure she's all right.
Yes, that is what I am doing. Yes.
I'm just I think I'm standing at the door. They're just kind of looking around, kind of in shock. And then I'll start to, if I can, just whatever traversable terrain.
Right. So there's the way that we described it before is there's a ladder from the passenger level down into the main level of the ship where the bridge and the bar and the cargo bay are, and then there's a ladder from there into the belly of the ship where the ship's engines would be. And you can definitely feel that like the ship isn't like, when you're in space and the engine is on, there's a bit of a like purring or a low vibration that you can always kind of feel, and it's absolutely still, like no engine, no anything.
Silence.
If there's any computer screens, they're black and they're not on.
So that's probably a little unfamiliar. Is that I might have missed it? Sorry, is it at least like walkable, like traversable?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
It's just there's a bunch of people's stuff is around. It got thrown out of their bunks, but it's not like the top level of the ship is not damaged in any way. You're not like seeing like the floor is untraversable or anything. It's just a bunch of junk got thrown around.
Okay.
It is safe.
If anyone's underwear is there, I'll kind of skirt it off to the side for their shame, not for mine, and I'll start to head down the ladder, kind of take in the surroundings again, and just then head straight to the bridge if I can.
So when you go down the ladder, you will finally notice the amount of damage that has been done to the ship, and that amount of damage is that the front of the ship has been crumpled like an accordion. It is like the bridge is absolutely inaccessible. It's just been like slammed against the surface of the planet. And you also notice that the floor underneath you in this level of the ship is definitely got some different dings and curves, and you can feel below in the engine room, like there's definitely like an arch, as if the stuff in the engine room has been pushed up, probably from, again, landing on the planet's surface.
So like I go to the bridge, but the bridge has come to me essentially, and I'm just like staring at a crumpled wall. It's like kind of, I think like the second I'm coming down the ladder there and I see that, I would immediately just like, oh, and then climb back up and start to kind of like walk, a little pout back to the door, and whatever anyone's doing, I'll just kind of.
She is dead.
She didn't make it?
What do you mean, Dad?
The front of the ship is
And I'll just make the squishing motion.
It is now the middle of the ship.
I'm just like still strapped in my seat with my hands, or my head in my hands, overwhelmed with guilt.
I think Cubit starts to unbuckle and says, "She's a good cap, but we still have the ship. We gotta get this fixed." And just start trying to like assess the situation.
I think the engine is in half. It's like a triangle. You can feel it through the floor.
I'm basically completely in shock right now because I think I had the longest relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. You knew the captain
And
for like 20 years for sure.
My heart actually just went all the way to my feet, and it's really hard for me to actually make words. But my next thing is to pull the bottle out of my coat and take a drink. Do you think she might still be in there?
Yes, I think she is still there, but I do not think she is alive.
Can we go look? Make sure we can maybe help her.
I'll like motion,
You want to see?
Yeah, maybe we can stabilize her.
and I'll like come down the ladder and kind of wait expectantly next to the crumpled door.
So is anyone following, going down the ladder with Uskar?
I immediately follow.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go with them as well.
Yeah, I'll help him down the ladder too, right? Because he uses a cane.
I mean, we've got
so-
2 medics. We're gonna come check as soon as we can.
Okay, so when you two get down the stairs, you see the same thing. The floor beneath you is obviously buckled up a little bit because of like no one's been or tried to go downstairs, but it's definitely, there is damage at the bottom of the ship. And then when you go towards the bridge, you can see that the metal itself has crumpled in and made the bridge absolutely inaccessible. If you were to go outside, this is the part of the ship that is like in the ground. So chances are there's like, I mean, you could try and like roll a notice skill, but it's super, super obvious that, I mean, even the ship and its metal components and its like double walled glass front is like absolutely flat. Like no one could survive that.
So I basically walk as soon as I notice what I see and I recognize what basically he was explaining. I go over and there's like this section where it's almost like a metal square and it's got trees in it. It's kind of like a centerpiece to the main area. And I sit down and I put my hands on my cane and I just start weeping, basically. My character just starts weeping.
It's going.
It's
okay.
Gelby, this man just like welcomed you as soon as you got aboard the ship, like tried to pull you into his quarters to save you and like helped you get like, do you do anything? Do you try and comfort him, or do you just like leave him be and be like, this is, a private moment?
Gelpy will probably walk past him and give him a little pat, and she's gonna head towards the bar and just start tidying up the bar.
Right.
she's just gonna start picking up pieces and putting them down, like not really knowing what to do. But
Right. So the bar, a lot of the furniture has been like moved all around. There's a little part that is like towards where the bridge would be that you can see like some of the crumpling effect happened at the far end of the bar, but for the most part, it's okay. Aside from like any glasses that weren't, strapped in and prepared, are definitely broken. Some of the ones that were strapped in have cracked, and maybe some of the liquid or alcohol is leaking out of them. This side of the ship is probably a little like slanted upwise, so the floor is a little slanted underneath your feet, but you're still able to definitely try and pick up the pieces and make it a little more move aroundable.
Yeah, I just want to get it as in better condition. And then after I've kind of cleaned up, I'll probably find any bottles that are out and head back over to Cletus.
Yeah, while she's cleaning up, I would comfort him with like just a,
It is okay. It is okay.
and I'll pat him on the back.
I look up at you and basically like, why didn't you tell her to come with you?
I did. I said, okay, you try one more time, and then I carry you. And she say, Whisker, you cannot. I must save everybody. And so Whisker had to say to himself, Whisker, you have to choose the woman or everyone else's life. And Whisker said to himself, Whisker, you choose everybody's life.
Well, maybe that was for the best then, Scar.
She's a honorable and noble woman.
She was a good woman.
Yes.
I'll tell you that.
She would have had many husbands.
Good captain.
She would have had many husbands. I love it.
Many, so many.
So Cubit and Amara, you're still in the emergency room, still strapped in. Cubit, Amara is looking like guilt-ridden, basically, with her head in her hands. Do you know Amara well enough to like address this? Or are you just gonna like go check on the engine where you spent most of your time? What is your reaction to this moment?
I think I get up, kind of unbuckle. I walk towards the door, but I kind of like brace myself. I turn around, kind of make a second judgment call and say, it wasn't your fault. Things happen. We can fix it. We can move on. And I kind of extend out my hand and say, we got some work to do.
Amara is still like with her head in her hands, going over just like that moment of pulling the handle and not pressing the button. And here's what Cubit has to say, and just like nods her head, but still like remains kind of still and not moving.
So I mentioned before that there were two or three other, let's just say two for the sake of me not getting NPCs mixed up, crew and or passengers. One of those people is a passenger. So passengers of the ship, not Gelpy, obviously, because she's new, but Cubit, Uskar, and Amara. Who is this other passenger? And like, do you remember when they came on board, or was it just someone that you never really talked to? Let's get this setting as to who remains alive.
Are they a woman or a man?
We could roll for it.
I gotta figure this out.
Roll 1d2. If it's a 1, it's a woman. If it's a 2, it's a man.
1d2. All right, so woman absolutely would have introduced myself at some point.
Okay. So it's a female passenger. I think that as opposed to every other member of the passenger who is also trying to be like kind of crew, this person is literally just trying to get from point A to point B. she was moving from the planet Halve in the Loico system to the Kozardisk system and the planet Karis. She's very religious. She was moving to try and be helpful in the process of accomplishing the great work. She's very quiet. She spent most of the time in her room and some of the time in the bar. You would know her, Cletus. Her name is, I'm gonna check the names list. Her name is Savara. And I don't think that she has ever had or used a last name. She just introduced herself as Savara. And she is very slight and demure. She has like very long black hair. And whenever she would come into the bar, she would speak with you, laugh at your jokes, but always be like fairly like quiet and subdued. And she is very religious. She always dresses in shades of white or blue, which are the colors of the she's not like a clergy member, but she dresses in the colors of the church because she is like very devoted to the completion of this great work. And she never like tries to proselytize, but you sometimes see her like meditating in her quarters, probably like very often, considering that you guys are in space for like weeks at a time. She had just joined on the previous jump and probably had spoken to each of you, but probably Cletus the most because you're the most talkative. And she's kind of just like sitting in strapped into the chair in the emergency room. And she has her like hands clasped together and her eyes closed, and she's like doing breathing exercises basically. The other person is a member of the crew, and probably again, Cletus, you would know this person the most because they're an actual crew member, the only other like full-time staff. What was their job on the ship? If the captain was the captain and you're basically in charge of like all food and beverage consumption and ordering, what was this third person's job?
Basically like a person that would do any kind of on board, like bringing stuff on, taking stuff off.
Okay,
checking.
So they're in charge of like the ordering and distribution of cargo to like make money with the...
Correct.
Okay.
Trade.
Right, absolutely. That's important when you make all of your money and pay for your ship by just offloading and onloading cargo. So this person's name is... They're kind of my connection to the outside world. So their stories, when we talk in the bar, are very enlightening for me because it gives me an opportunity to hear about what's going on at each port. So this person's name is Gaius. That's not Gaius from Battlestar Galactica, but I guess it's Gaius anyway. And now he is Gaius from Battlestar Galactica. And his name is Gaius. He's very charismatic and personable. He always makes the best deals when it comes to like getting cargo for low prices and selling it for high. And he is a regular of the bar. He probably was not around for the amount of time that you have been, Cletus, but he and you became like very like fast friends because you both love chatting, and he likes to like hang out with you when you're in between one system and the next. He was always checking his compad to like communicate with other traders about what's the best deal. And he is right now probably looking a bit shaken up, but you can already see that he's kind of pulling himself together and moving past it. So Gaius probably looks at Cubit and Amara and Savara and is like straightening himself up, brushing off his jacket, and is like, I'm gonna go check out the bar and see I'm going to drink a lot, and then we'll figure something else out. And he like leaves.
Then Cletus actually, as he's getting ready to, as he stands up, he just pulls out like this like nice little shot glass that he had, and he pours a little bit and hands it to Gaius. and then drinks a big swig out of the bottle himself.
And so Gaius like sits down next to you, and he grabs like probably like on the floor. There's a glass that is cracked but not broken, and he like grabs it up off the floor and holds it out to you to get a little pour from your bottle, and is like, well, that's one way to end a job, I suppose.
Yeah, that definitely didn't go the way we had planned it, I'll tell you that much. And then I pour a little bit in there for him.
I assume the captain, and he points like towards the direction of the crumpled bridge.
Yeah, she didn't make it. She didn't make it. And then he puts his hands back on his cane, puts his head down on the hands, and then begins to slightly weep again. Not too much, though. Not as much as before. He's doing better now.
Gaius tips a little bit, just a tiny bit of the alcohol out of his glass, and is like, you know, pour one out, as it were.
For the homies.
Yeah. Back in the emergency room, you see Amara and Cubit. You see Savara take one deep breath, and she looks up at you and she says, do we know what happened?
Well, we crashed. Other than that, I have no idea.
I was in my room, and then, well, you, Amara, ran past and told us we had to. Everything was fine, and then it wasn't. Do we know how close we are to the city? Can we get help?
I think I kind of pull out my data pad and kind of like tap it.
So I'm not 100% sure how like Wi-Fi works in Stars Without Number. You notice that the ship's computer and the ship's network isn't online. Obviously, the ship's computers are offline currently, probably because they were smushed. And there is probably like almost instantaneous connection anywhere on this planet. You will notice that like you can connect and get like the radio chatter or whatever it is from most of the cities that you're familiar with, but there is no chatter currently coming out of the city that you were docked with.
So I'm not seeing anything significant. It's actually unusually quiet. I think I need to do some more investigation. And I kind of just walk out of the room and look at everyone. I look at Amara and I kind of nod. And then I just pick up my tools and I kind of just try to find something to work on.
I reach over and there's another less broken glass that is like rolled our way, but it's sitting a little bit further from me. And I grab it and I take my like overcoat and I rub it inside. I pour a little bit in it, and as she's walking past me out into the center corridor, like the center area, I reach up to hand it to her as a gesture of like, it's gonna be okay.
Do you take it, Cubit?
I do. I think I look at the crumpled wall. I look down at everyone sitting there. I take it. And I shoot it. I give it back to Cletus. I say thank you.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be all right.
I think we kind of say that in unison. Like we look at each other.
Yeah.
We're like, it's gonna be okay.
As long as we're okay, it's gonna be okay.
All right, so Cubit, what is it that you're trying to like take a look for or look about on the ship? Like what is Cubit looking for when she pulls up the the compad, or like what are you looking for on in terms of like on the ship?
If we have some sort of like communication tower or like antenna, I know that the bridge was kind of collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
The engine is not really in a working state that I can kind of touch right now.
Mm-hmm.
Something just to like get a signal out or get a signal in. Something.
Okay. Your compad would have the ability to do like planet range. Basically, it's like a cell phone. Like you could call somebody who's on the other side of this planet, but you can't call somebody who's on the moon.
Right. Okay.
So like you have the ability to contact the other cities on this planet, or take a look at like what's going on in terms of like anything in the news or anything like that if you wanted to take a look.
Okay. I think I'll pull up some sort of, I don't know if there's like a news channel that's like the known news channel of the planet. I'll pull that up.
Yeah, so there's probably like several different news channels, but they all have the same thing on them. And when you pull it up, and do you have your like sound turned on, or like typically how do you keep your like compad? Like it's probably like an iPad, very like Star Trek, you know, how do you keep it? Do you like have it like it's immediately full sound, or?
I think I'm kind of reserved as far as I might visit the bar or something every so often, but I'm not one to kind of sit and talk with people. More reserved, kind of quiet. I wouldn't say it's completely muted, but not loud enough for anyone across the room to hear. If there's someone standing next to me, they might hear a little whisper of it.
Okay. So you pull up the first news channel that you can see, and you see shots that are obviously from a satellite into the space outside of the planet Sean. And there are, it actually surprises you because it looks fake when you first see it, but when they zoom in, you see that these are actual real like massive battle cruisers, and there are so many that they fill the sky completely surrounding the planet. And they pan to several different satellite shots of this same thing, and the newscaster's voice is basically saying like, the Jorhild military has completely surrounded the planet Sean and declared a state of quarantine. No one is allowed in or out. There have already been independent ships that have attempted to get out of the planet's orbit and been shot down. Please, again, do not attempt to leave the planet's orbit. You will be shot down. We are currently trying to contact the government of Sean and find out what, if anything, the Jorhild military wants and why they have destroyed the city. And like they give the city name of the city that you are attached to. And then there's a roll at the bottom of the screen, like classic newscaster roll, where it says like, the city of blank was targeted by several nuclear devices and completely destroyed. No warnings were given. We are currently unaware of the reasoning behind this attack. And like this is just like going on loop, and it's basically just like they don't have any information of like why this is happening. But yeah, it appears you're under siege.
I think I kind of freeze in the moment. I'm just holding my tablet phone thing, and I look to my right, I guess, where everyone's still kind of sitting, remembering the captain. And I say, Cletus, I'm gonna need another drink.
So I pull out the first bottle is completely empty. So I pull the other bottle out and begin to break the seal on it. And I grab the glass that she set next to me, and I begin to pour into the glass another drink for her. Tell me when.
All right, that's good. That's good.
And then I hand the glass over to her as she's looking at the little screen.
As I grab the glass, I think I'll hand the tablet to Amara and say, "It's not your fault. We have something bigger going on here, and we need to figure it out." Can you
Amara, you see again, like the news, a bunch of military ships surrounding the planet. You see the scroll that says that unprecedented attack on blank city, space elevator collapse, civilian casualties in the hundreds of thousands, and that's just, they're kind of reporting like, this is awful. We don't know why.
I look up at Qubit and I say, is this the only channel that you've been able to get?
I think I kind of look at it and I flip through, make a motion to flip through, and it's just blasting the same news reel on all the channels.
There is one pro-Jorhildian news station, because this is a planet that's in the Khazar Disk theocracy, but there are definitely like people here who are like friends who are like, it was just a space elevator collapse. The decimation was due to the falling debris. Like, there was no nukes shot, there's no radiation in the atmosphere. And then there's a religious station that claims like it was an act of God, that people in that city weren't contributing to the great work, and so that's the reason why. There's a very fringe like college radio or college television station that says it was a secret weapons test by fringe ultra-violent sect of the Khazar Disk theocracy. But that's all you have that's being like openly broadcast in this area.
This might be far-fetched, but would I be able to try and like hack my way into a more like official?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's totally something you can do. So you are holding Qubit's compad, and you're kind of like going through, like, imagine you have a radio dial that you're just tuning to specific stations, and if you press scan, it only goes to these ones. But if you specifically dial it, you might be able to get more information. That would be probably a program and intelligence roll. And depending on like how high you get on the roll, I'll give you either more information or just, what you got.
We believe in you.
So with an 8, you're able to tune in to, let's say that you can find that there's some like shortwave radio from maybe like farms or some like minor terraforming stations in the area where they're just kind of like panicking and trying to call their family that are in the city, but there's no response. But
like a CB.
Like a CB radio.
CB radio.
But you don't hear anything that's more official. You would have to have gotten like at least a 10 in order to hack into like any kind of military communication.
I just kind of look at Qubit and say, this seems sketchy. We need to find a better outpost.
I agree with you. I'm still processing the images that I see and looking around, and I'm more like focused on like, in my mind I'm thinking like, we have no ship. What are we gonna do?
I have a quick question. So that pad is hers, right?
Yeah, if you have a compad in your equipment that you got, you will also have a similar pad that's just able to access any kind of like news feed, or like you probably have games on it. It's basically an iPad. That's what that compad is.
She since she's an engineer, would she not be able to maybe do better then?
She would be able to modify it to try and get like a wider range signal, or like there's absolutely the chance for a roll of like, maybe I can fix it to get like more different, like basically like instead of just looking from the like 88 to 104, like if you could fix it to try and get like the extra stations, if we're comparing it to radio. With Amara's trying to hack, like that was basically like looking to see like if there was anything that she could specifically clue into that was extra information, but you could absolutely try again with fix instead, for sure.
Yeah, I'd like to try that. I think in the panic, I kind of like snap to
Mm.
and have a moment of clarity and say, okay, let me try something.
Like maybe even Cletus suggests, like maybe you can fiddle with it.
Hey, I think you might want to grab that there and take another look at it.
You know, yeah, I think I'm gonna try that. Let's
Yeah, so absolutely you
got
can
here?
fix. In this instance, I think it's going to have to be intelligence because like it's more like programming or hacking and less like just hitting a bunch of buttons and seeing if you luck out. So yeah.
okay. Skills fix.
Okay. So with an 11, I will go ahead and give you, and you probably like you have to turn up the volume to kind of like listen to it, basically as though you're trying to crack a safe, let's say. But you do with that larger, with that higher roll, with the roll of an 11, you can hear what sounds like a coded message. And when you get to like just the right station, basically like when you hear that last click on the safe, to your comm pad is beamed a coded message that is just like repeating in text on your screen, but it is coded. It's not readable as it is right now. You'd have to break the code.
Is there any way that
I would actually say for a second there, like I can hear it too, but I have no clue what I'm listening to.
Yeah, it sounds like Morse code or something.
Yeah, so I would look over to Mara, kind of like glare at her and be like, "Is there anything you think you can do with that?"
Like Amara, you've definitely. What is your history like? How do you know how to hack? Like, what is it that you've done or learned in your past that taught you how to hack?
That I would say is my aside from pilot.
What
Is hacking? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you just froze for just a second.
Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, it's saying my connection is unstable. Oh no, yikes.
You're
I
good.
think you're okay
You're good.
now. Yeah.
You're good.
You're good right now.
Okay. Yeah, that's Amara's passion is hacking. So she started on buses and they are crap ships and has had to figure out how to, hack their systems to make them a little bit better. So that's kind of how she learned that.
Right. So you're more used to hacking into like an actual ship's computer, but it's not too much more difficult. You look at the code that is on the screen, and it's a series of like letters and numbers, but you can kind of see that there's like a symmetry to them that looks like a similar code to the code you use for programming. Like it's absolutely something that you could try and make sense of if you wanted to.
Okay, yeah, so I would definitely take it back and attempt to kind of do what I did before.
Mm-hmm. Now that you have the station, it should be easier to make sense of it. So if you wanted to go ahead and make another program and int roll.
Okay.
Teamwork makes a dream work.
I just see them both huddling over it, working together side by side.
Hopefully Amara doesn't vomit again.
Correct.
Did it work?
Hopefully.
I don't see it. Maybe a refresh?
It's saying 12 on mine, but I'm also saying it's saying that I'm not connected to the server.
Oh, so you'll need to refresh the page.
Okay.
Hopefully it keeps that 12.
Right, as soon as I make a great roll.
Yeah, right? As soon as you do, then it's like, well, I can't connect to the server. Whoopsie.
Second life, dude.
Yeah, I'll refresh and see if it can like grab that, but I'm not seeing it right now.
Yeah, I've never gotten this. I'm sorry. It's saying.
What do you think? Let's take a vote, everyone. We can't see that she rolled a 12. Do we believe her?
Dang it, I should have screenshotted
Yeah,
it.
you can screenshot, send it in Discord.
But I
Or
already
we
refreshed.
do trial by fire.
I would say a vote. I will give her the benefit of the doubt if all the rest of the crew is okay with that.
I believe.
I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Terrible charisma.
Okay.
I would never lie.
All right. You would never lie. I believe you. Okay, chat. We're going to believe in the 12. What you get, you're looking at the message, you like put it into your usual like programming interface. Like you copy paste it from Qubit's compad to your own. And it takes you a moment, but you finally decode it. And what appears on the screen in front of you is it's the Jorhildian military code. Like once you decode it, it has like a from, general whatever of the Jorhildian military to any units still stationed on planet. Immediately abort all missions and meet up with your ship. Like it's basically telling them to like get the fuck off the planet.
It's a recall message.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
From the ships that are like around the planet, sieging the planet, to any Jorhildian military stationed on Sean.
Yeah,
Can we
so
hear this too?
The pad.
It's
I would hold up the
text.
pad and kind of show it to you
yeah.
guys.
So you see when Amara holds up the pad, you see this like very official looking Jorhildian military message. It's like, to all Jorhildian military units, stop. Immediately evacuate Sean, stop. Like, basically.
Why would they need to decrypt that? I kind of like say out, like just, it's really odd.
Yeah, why would you need to hide something like that?
Well, if they're not letting anyone off the planet and they're only letting themselves off the planet, I can only imagine what they're planning to do with the planet.
Wait, are you telling me they're gonna destroy it?
I mean, why wouldn't they let anyone else off, and why would they evacuate?
We heard that there was a quarantine.
Basically, just like a siege. They were like not allowing anyone to leave.
Well, in the newsreel, you said something.
Yeah, they were basically declaring like no one gets off, no one comes in, like quarantine.
I want to make it clear really quick. We were just stopping there, right?
Yeah, you were stopping there.
We don't really have like a tie to that planet.
No,
Okay.
absolutely not. Like that was the point.
So we're not like, oh, that planet. Like,
No, absolutely. That was one of the reasons when we made characters, there was something outside of this planet that you all need to get back to. Like you don't live here. This is not your home. You can't just be like, well, I guess I'll just stay here then. Like very pointedly, there are things that you need or want to get back to that are not on the planet Sean.
So now we're basically at the point of deciding what the heck is actually happening and why this is happening, and less about like that planet, I believe.
Yeah, it's mostly like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna on my compad message one of my contacts.
Are they on this planet?
Yeah, they would be in.
Right, because you have what was it that you had connected?
Connected, yeah.
Right, absolutely.
So I'm
because
assuming
you
I was
have
here
connected.
for longer than a week, right?
Yes, you were waiting for pickup. Like I already mentioned before we started that like you could have that. So yes, you have contacts on the planet, absolutely. So you want to message one of them?
Yeah, I just want to message one of them and just ask, is Jorhild in the city? And how are people in the city? Like,
okay, so what's the name of the person you're messaging and what is it that they do?
So I'm going to message Racket.
Okay.
And he is a bootlegger.
Okay.
So doesn't really have loyalties to either Khazard or Jorhild.
Yeah, he's kind of for his own.
Yeah, and he's probably one of the only ones that knows my full story.
So you message Racket, who obviously wasn't in the city that got destroyed, because that would be really mean of me. And it probably takes a little bit, so like we can go ahead and have like more conversations while you're like waiting for him to get back, because I'm assuming that he knows a lot of people that are probably like trying to talk to him.
Oh yeah.
But eventually he would get back to you with like yeah, I'm okay. I don't know what's going on. And yeah, those guys are in the streets all over the place.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. What are the rest of you doing?
I've actually stood up at this point, and I'm very, very slowly kind of like meandering my way towards the bar. I'm not entirely sure where Uskar is, but I'm looking for him.
Mm-hmm. Where are you, Uskar?
That to answer that requires a question. Were the captain's quarters in the now sandwiched quarters, or
no? They were up. They were upstairs with everybody. They're probably more towards the front, like kind of above the bridge. So maybe like the captain's quarters are a little bit scrunched at the bottom. But she had like a double wide, basically, at the end of the hallway of the passenger bunks.
Okay. So Uskar, I'm in her room, or lingering outside of it, maybe in fear of entering it. But I'm.
So I just have you in my mind. Basically, I want to know where you are to make sure you're okay, because we're both kind of dealing with this at the same time. Mm-hmm. My ultimate goal right now is to make sure my bar's okay.
Okay, so you're just like thinking
I'm kind of like hunched over, quietly meandering towards the bar right now.
Okay, so you're in the bar. Amara and Cubit and Gelpy and Gaius probably are sitting in this like wider hallway at the very center of the ship where the different ladders to go up and down are. Uskar, you're right outside the captain's quarters. What is Uskar doing?
I'm looking in. I think I'm a little afraid to enter her room, but I'm looking in if the door is open to find like any kind of like. Does she have any like prized possession that I'd like to like? I'm trying to bury her with it, or at least do some kind of funeral thing. So something that she's used a lot, or something that was precious to her.
Okay, so I feel like the door has been like opened or stuck open. Is like halfway open. If it's one of those sliding doors, it's like open at the bottom but closed at the top, and it looks like super broken. And if you look into the room, again, like everything's kind of everywhere, but there's more stuff in here than there would be in one of the passenger cabins, because she's lived here on the ship for like the 20 years, just the same way there would be more stuff in Cletus's quarters. And Cletus's quarters are larger because they actually stay on the ship all the time. And her like bed was a little bit wider than a normal bunk and had like special pillows, which are now like strewn all over the place. She had drawers that are kind of like, some of them are open, some of them are jammed shut, with like different clothes. She probably had like a fair few like fake militaristic outfits. Like she loved the epaulets. And you see, like, now it's knocked onto the floor, but it used to be on some kind of hat stand, basically. It's this old-fashioned looking, it's obviously not actually old. It's been styled, it's in the style of something that's old, but it's an old-fashioned tricorn hat that you remember, like, you've only been here for a short time, but you remember there was one night where Cletus and the captain were celebrating some kind of useless anniversary of the time when they thought they'd paid off the ship, but it turns out that there were still like 5 years on the contract, but they celebrated anyway. And she had worn this silly hat and been like really proud of it. So you see that on the ground.
Yeah, so I'm probably just sitting there staring at it. Outside of her doorway, just kind of like fighting with myself as to whether or not he should break the privacy of the now dead person. Is there the emergency room is behind us, right?
Yes. Yes. It's at the direct other end of this hallway.
So I'd kind of be like anxiously looking back if there's anyone. Is anyone watching me?
I feel like Savara is she hadn't gone down the ladder with everyone else into the main level of the ship. You see her She's in her bunk that she probably shared with I'm just gonna say Gaius because like of course like you guys probably share bunks with each other, and she shared one with Gaius, and she's just like very calmly folding blankets that have been thrown all over the place and like placing them on the bed and kind of just like doing small tasks in a similar way to how Cletus is downstairs fixing up his bar to just kind of like set things a bit to rights and let her mind process what just happened.
I will kind of with great hesitation slowly start to walk in into a room and just,
I am sorry, Captain. I am sorry.
and I'll bow and then kind of like just walk in and just very like meekly pick it up by with 2 fingers and finish bringing it downstairs. I think if that tree is there that Cletus said.
Yeah. Cletus said there's.
It's like a centerpiece to the downstairs area because it's a grander like hallway. You have
it's a wider hallway,
almost like a center, nicer looking.
The tree is actually real, and it's part of the ship's like oxygen replenishment. Like it's probably pretty common in this type of ship that there's a green space right in the middle to help with transmitting oxygen and carbon dioxide, especially on longer missions.
Yeah, I'd walk up and kind of like gently lay it down next to the tree, and kind of look down and,
hey, Captain, I am very thankful for you for giving me passage on this ship to get off the hellish world that Uskar is from. And thank you for believing in Uskar and for being a good captain and for believing in me. I thank you.
And I'll wave and then make my way to wherever the players or the other people are.
I feel Gelpy and Cletus were in the bar. I think that you probably said this loud enough for like everyone to hear.
Yeah, because you're right next to the other 2.
Yeah. So if I found all of you, I
have set up the captain's favorite hat next to the tree. If you want to, I say a few words.
That would be Todd and Cubit, right?
Yeah, sorry, whoever's in the bar.
I thought you said.
Oh no, the bar is like right next to this hallway, so all of you were able to hear this for sure.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if we were close enough at this point.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you're because this is the like central area, and the bar definitely like opens up onto this hallway, so you could definitely hear it.
So I hear what he says, and I kind of like take my towel and lay it on the counter, and I realize how big the mess is in front of me is bigger than me right now. Like I can't handle it. I look over to Gelpy and say, "Will you please get the rest of those bottles and picked up real quick for me? I'll be right back." And I begin to like stroll out to where Uskar is. And so you have to give me time for travel at this point. So one of the others are going to have to say something.
Yeah. Cubit and Amara, you 2 are still in the hallway. Does either one of you, like, you haven't known the captain for as long as Gaius or Cletus have, but Uskar just like set this hat down and said, like, if anyone wants to say anything, like, we're basically having an impromptu memorial service, as it were. Does either one of you want to say anything? Or do anything? You could just, like, just, I don't know, salute. I don't know what you want to do.
I think I'll walk over and kind of just silently stand. And then I'll just pour a little of my drink out.
Pour one out for the captain.
And kind of nod. And then kind of just step aside.
Amara kind of does the same, but without the pouring out. Just kind of nods her head and holds it down.
Yeah, so you're processing like internally, being like, thank you, Captain. Gaius, he's probably sitting with his back to the tree and thus the hat when Uskar comes down, and he sees you, Cletus, like coming towards him, and like he turns back to his glass and is kind of like looking down into it, a little more forlorn than you'd usually see him. And under his breath, but still loud enough for everyone to see, he mumbles something to the effect of "motherfuckers," and like just like shakes his head as you pass by, like
Just anger.
yeah.
So I basically walk up and I hear that, and after hearing Uskar, as I'm walking up, I have this like open coat. I reach in, there's a really, really deep pocket there in the front. It has my comm pad, and it's got like kind of like some folders. They're not really folders, like manila folders, but they're almost like just something holding papers that I would have like tracked, bar information, things that were really important to me, important information. And I open it up as I'm standing next to Uskar, and inside of it is like a napkin, like a cup napkin, one of the small bar ones. I pull it out, and it's got like a little bit of lipstick on it, and I set it next to the hat, and it was the napkin that I had taken from the first visit you and I had in the bar. And so I set it next to the hat, and I looked down, basically kind of like put my head down quietly. And at this point, it's really hard for me to make words. I'm going to use this moment to be very silent. And because of the relationship that you and I had throughout the years in this ship and how much we actually had to do together, it's so hard for me to make words right now. So I just take the opportunity to set that very important item down, and I'm quiet.
Yeah, there. Cletus you have like a flashback to when you just got the new wooden bar installed and like the wood paneling, and to how hard it was to convince Lysandra that this was something that you felt would really make the ship stand out. Like maybe this was like 15 years ago now, and like it was right after you'd finally like put the last like nails in and installed this beautiful bar, and like it was just the two of you. The ship was on planet, like in a dry dock.
I literally just showed you the napkins that I got like from the recent stop that was for the bar, and I was really excited.
And Lysandra, like kind of drunk and kind of sloppy, had like taken the napkin and like smooshed it really big, and then said like, "That's the only kiss you'll get from me, Cletus," and then like probably basically like fell off her chair like drunkenly.
Backwards.
Yeah. And that's the memory you have with her, along with like many others, obviously.
And after the memory ends, basically I just kind of like look up, and there's like a smirk, almost like a small like smile kind of out of the right side of my face. And so what do we do now, y'all?
Cubit, do you think the ship is fixable?
Take a look around, and I take a deep breath. It's gonna take me a while to fix.
If anybody can do it, you can.
You hear Gaius like say, and he's still like sitting down facing away from everyone, and he says, "Fix it. This is scrap metal now."
No. Cubit is the best mechanic. She can fix anything.
You hear like from downstairs in the engine room, something makes like a noise that you know it's not supposed to make, like an outpouring of steam like comes up. It's definitely the like cartoony like break in the dramatic feelings of like, oh yeah, definitely not a fixing sort of thing.
It's okay.
And then Gaius says, "What was that message? What was that message that we got?" The one, Amara. What was the message you,
What the message?
Something about the military getting off planet.
Oh, the planet is quarantined, that, we probably need to get off this planet as soon as possible.
Well, they're letting the Jorhildian military off, aren't they?
Yeah.
So we just be that, right?
You want us to be Drahildian military members?
We do not have time to go sign up for the military. Obviously not. Okay, we have to think now in the moment.
I really don't know why she liked you. I mean, certainly there are still members of the Johildian military somewhere on this stupid backwards planet. And we just, take their identification and get the hell off of this place, right?
Yeah.
Anyone have a better plan?
Don't we have to fix our ship, though?
Fuck
Well, we
this
could
ship.
take
It's
their
broken.
It's got my bar in it.
We can get you a better bar.
I don't think you know how hard it was to get that bar.
Maybe I don't. But if you want to stay here for a old piece of wood, I don't know what it is they plan on doing, but...
Excuse me? An old piece of wood? You were drinking in there too. Don't act like you didn't enjoy that place.
Okay, but he's right. It is just a piece of wood. Right, if we think with our brains.
You saw the news. They destroyed an entire city. If they're telling their men to get off the planet, then certainly it's for a reason.
We gotta go now?
I mean, I would assume we'd have to go soon. It seemed urgent. Didn't it seem urgent, Amara?
Oh, it was definitely urgent. And you're right, Gaius. There's no way we could fix this ship. We need to move on to another ship.
Or get a different ship, but I heard on Cubit's pad that ships that were trying to exit the planet were shot down. I certainly don't want to be in another crash.
But it sounds like they're not shooting down the Jarhildian ones, yeah?
I mean, I assume they have clearance of some kind.
So we need to get a drive signature. How do we do that?
Can you forge one of those? Is that a thing?
I mean, I'm not a hacker, but...
Do we have a pen?
I like your thinking.
I could
Iskra.
try to hack it,
Yes.
but
I mean, before we do that, we need a working ship.
I can fix it!
Yes, she is very good. I'm saying.
Go find some other ship's engine and just strap it on. It'll be fine.
Some Flex Seal.
I know a guy.
Just get a lot of duct tape.
I basically grabbed the last of my bottle. There's like a third of it left.
Mm.
And I give it to her and I say, this is, if you can fix this ship, there's more where this came from.
Okay. But we need to make a new captain, yes?
Make a captain. The captain's dead.
Well, yes, yes, obviously.
We need a new captain.
You do not grow captains. Duh. We have to choose.
Amara slowly starts to back away.
Where Whiskered is from, if two people want to do something, then the men fight it out to the death for them.
I don't.
I'm not fighting anyone to the death.
Whiskered volunteers
For captain?
to fight to the death. On behalf of Imara.
Iskra, why don't we save the fighting for the Jorhildians? That we might need.
That's probably the best bet.
How do we decide?
Before we decide what captain we need to find a working ship. Are we gonna fix this one, or are we gonna try to find a military base, and take theirs?
Can we give her a chance?
Cubit, you could absolutely go into the engine room and get a vibe, but I am telling you straight up that with the accordion crunch of the front of the ship, you'd have to literally get scrap metal and rebuild the front of the ship, and you would need to bring this entire wreck to a dry dock. That's months of work and probably more time than you have.
Nothing we can do right now.
Yeah.
I think
do we know where we?
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go, Cubit. Go. Or sorry, Starbuck.
Both, either.
Both.
You can call me Cubit.
Call me Cubit.
I think there's another loud hissing noise from the engine, and a sprocket flies into the air. And I turn around and I'm okay, maybe I can't fix it. plan B.
As soon as she says that, I literally just start walking away to the bar. Like, there is like no question that I can give a care less what happens from this room. I'm gonna go say goodbye, basically.
I'm sorry for stealing the one thing you love most in the world.
Okay. I tried to fight for it.
Oh no, absolutely.
On our compads, can we tell where we are? Like, do we know?
Yeah, you have GPS for sure.
Are there any cities near us?
So the closest city is the one that is a burning pile of rubble.
Okay.
And that's probably like, I mean, we're all, I don't know, kilometers, miles. I don't know what's better. Space kilometers. It's probably about an hour walk behind you because you definitely were like pretty high up and went. So that's where the burning pile of rubble is that you could definitely like go see if there's anything recoverable from. The next nearest city, like I said, this is a fairly new colony, so it's still like probably one of the lowest populated colonies in the Khazar-Disk theocracy. The next nearest city is probably at least a day's walk away if you're walking.
You said there was possible nukes that had gone off, right? So it'd probably not be
like
safe for us to...
The news had said that, but there was another station that said that there wasn't any noticeable amount of radiation, so it might have been like some kind of non-nuclear torpedo.
It seems over all the channels that it's like overwhelming, like just rockets or...
Yeah, it was just like, it was a big boom, but like, yeah, there was one station that said there wasn't a noticeable amount of radiation, and you're close enough to the city that if there was radiation from a nuclear device, you would already be suffering from it.
Okay.
Amara, would you be able to hack in and see if there are any Jorhildian stations still working, if there's a signal coming out of any of them?
I sure can try, and I pull out the pad again and start, hacking away.
Since you like writing on your previous roll, you just get the repeat of like all military units, the coded message, like all military units withdraw, is on repeat on the Jorhildian like station that you were able to access. It seems like they're intentionally being like, just like get the heck out of there. There might have been like a previous instruction before this moment, but right now it's just jamming the frequency with withdraw. All Jorhildian military withdraw.
So would we be able to kind of locate a base on our GPS?
With like, I would say that's a new role. If you're looking for a Jorhildian like secret military base, that's going to be definitely a new role, because
or
they wouldn't. Maybe
like a place where it proves that there's a lot of just ships fleeing from the area.
Like, if
radar, maybe?
Like the thing is like you could definitely try and use radar, but that would be a ship's control and not your compad's control, and the ship's computers are currently down. Like, it might be easier to fix the ship's computers than it would be to fix like the entire engine and also the body of the ship, but that's going to be like, you have to fix it and then you can roll to try and use the ship's radar. Who knows if the antenna or what have you that controls radar is still working. You haven't been outside yet. But like, it's absolutely possible for you to, using the Jorhildian military radio that you already have, try and figure out like where that frequency is coming from on the planet's surface. Absolutely.
Okay, so with that, I'll try to scan for that frequency and see where that is.
Okay, I would say that is probably program and intelligence again, or notice. It depends on how you're doing it. I feel like it has to be program first, because like, you're definitely getting secret information from the computer that isn't just readily available. So I feel like that's still program and intelligence. 11. Nice. So Amara rolls an 11, and you kind of are like cross-referencing, and this isn't something that's meant to be done on a comm pad. It's definitely you're kind of using what materials you have available with the ship's computer down. But you are able to find the closest beacon that is relaying the message, and it's also like you'll notice because you got that message back from your friend from Racket. I'm sorry, Gelpy. I was thinking Saji and it's Gelpy. You got the message from your friend Racket that there was still a ton of Jorhildian military in the streets of the city that he was in. The beacon is directing you towards this same city, which again is like a day's walk away. If you could find some kind of vehicle, it would be less. But like I said, this planet is pretty sparsely populated. So it's going to be a trek. And we'll have to do that trek next time.
Perfect
time. Whatever you all decide to do, you'll have to decide it for our next episode, because that is all the time we have left. I am so happy that it went like almost according to plan. I like, as a GM, I tend to be the like, you plan something and then the players get into it and then it's completely off the rails and will never go the way you plan it. But like for this time, I spent months thinking about what I wanted to do with this show, and it actually, the setup at least, like went fairly according to plan. So I'm really excited to see what choices y'all make in terms of like what direction things go going forward. Before we close off the show, I'd love for all of you to give another shout out, anything that you're doing this week, where people can find you on the internet. Let's start with Tadriel. I'm so sorry to have thrust you into the position of saving the entire ship, but
yeah, it was great.
Honestly, it was meant to be very, very hard because part of me wanted y'all to be stuck here.
The worst part,
the
worst part is she's left thinking she killed the captain.
No. Yeah, I'm so sorry, Todd. Please.
You're on Twitch, twitch.tv/Tadriel. Yeah, I play games. I talk nonsense. I'm just about as good at games as I am at flying this ship. So you'll have fun over there, I'm sure.
Everyone, make sure to go visit Tadriel to make up for the fact that I made her character feel like she killed the captain. I'm so sorry.
No, not at all. It's fine.
Next up, Saji, tell everyone where they can find you and anything fun you're doing in between this session and the next one.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Sagittari. But mostly right now I'm active more on Instagram, posting a lot of my new abstract pieces there. So if you're an artist, you want to see more art, connect with the community, you can find me there. It's Sagittari with 2 eyes though, because someone else has that name apparently.
Gosh darn it, how dare they. And I'm also very sorry for destroying your beloved bar. At least we know that Cletus's bar doesn't get destroyed till the year 3197. So like that's a pretty long time.
You got a good run, man.
Where can people find Cletus in the past when he still has his bar?
I have to say though, even though since we're gonna still be on this planet for a while, I can still come back and make drinks.
Absolutely, you can.
It's just a crash ship with a bar in it right now.
You just gotta walk a day back.
Gotta walk a day back.
One sec, I'm gonna make a drink.
Just get a hover car.
I'll be right back.
You gotta go find a hover car, and then you can make the trip a lot faster or something. So Cletus, where can people find you?
Twitch.tv/Cletus Buford. I play everything. I've actually been really addicted to Path of Exile right now, and because my community got me addicted. So that's what I'm playing right now.
Thank you.
How dare they?
I know, right?
I
had a really good time, by the way. This was awesome.
Oh, I'm so glad. That means
you did an amazing job.
Oh, thank you. That means the world to me. Starbuck. I actually did not on purpose name the trade guy Gaius. I was looking at the list of names and Gaius just was there. My eye was like, Gaius? And then I remembered. So now we have 2 Battlestar Galactica references. But can you tell everyone where they can find you most days and what you're up to?
You can find me here on Twitch, twitch.tv/callmestarbuck. I usually play a lot of Siege or sometimes a variety of other games at times. But Siege is my current addiction. And I have one request. Please, at some point, have him say, "No more Mr. Nice Guys."
Okay, I'll try and throw it in there. Maybe when we storm the Jorhildian military base and get ourselves murdered.
I love it.
Last but certainly not least, Jay, I didn't kill your character yet. Thank you so much for doing production on this episode. It means the world to me to be able to just focus on GMing. So tell everyone where they can find you and where you're making horrible tech mistakes on the internet.
Hello, it is me, the person that crashes and burns every live stream that he enters into. I'm really sorry that I did it to all of you today. But if you guys want to catch my stream where it's a very finely held together shit show, I play a lot of Path of Exile right now. I would like to invite all of you to invite Path of Exile into your lives. It's the greatest game ever made. And Blue Jay, you killed it. This was awesome. It was really engaging, really fun, and I'm really excited for the next 7 episodes. Thanks for watching, everyone.
We have 7 weeks, man.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm Blue Jay. You can find me over at twitch.tv/BlueJay or on Twitter at BlueJay_712. I know, like, every time I try and get my name, it's always taken. It's the worst. But I will be thinking really hard on what horrible calamities to throw at our cast next. So if you have anything to say about the show, if you want to watch it again on YouTube and comment there, or like throw up a hashtag bystanders and at any of us, I would love to see your input and feedback, because I'm really excited to run my first like full length campaign.
I actually almost started crying when I was talking about your character.
Aww.
I was like,
I know, I got teary a couple times too.
it was kind of sad to like imagine that friendship being broken right there.
Yeah.
That's so great. Well, I'm super excited to see you all next week. It's going to be on Thursday, I believe at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, 7:30. Is it 7:30 Eastern time?
Yeah.
Awesome. I did the time zones right. So we'll see you then, and have a lovely evening. Thank you all so much.
Bye. Thank you, everyone, so much.
Bye, everybody.
Hey, it's me. Hey. Don't forget to join our Discord. Go use the hashtag Bystanders channel in there. Discord.gg/Tablestory or tablestory.tv/Discord, okay?